A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry of the Circus. Now for Jerry of the Circus.
Jerry! Here I am, Whitey.
How's Jason doing now?
Oh, he's up again.
Yeah, I see him now. Bump said he had a close call.
He sure did. Hey, look, Whitey. He's going to make that panther jump through the ring of flame after all.
Yes, sir, he is. That fella must have nerves of iron. He won't come out of that steel until he finishes his act.
He did it. He did it, Whitey. Streak went through the fire after all.
Jason deserves a lot of credit, Jerry.
I never thought he could do it. Streak was so mad. The way he snarled at him when he jumped on Jason. You should have seen it, Whitey. My heart was in my mouth.
Yeah, Bumps told me he looked pretty serious, all right. Well, he's safe now. Well, I got to get back to the horse shop. I'll see you later, Jerry.
Okay, Whitey. I'm going to stay here for a minute and talk to Jason when he comes off. Then I got to see Flats about something.
All right, Jerry. I won't be needing you at the horse shop this afternoon anyhow. Oh, hello, Boris.
Did you see Jason? He was in great danger, Whitey.
Yeah, I saw him. Close call, all right.
I wanted to tell you, Whitey, how pleased I am with the care you are giving my horses of late.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're satisfied.
Satisfied? I'm delighted. Keep up the good work, Whitey.
Sure.
Well, there is my wagon. I leave you now. I must hurry and dress.
Okay, all right, Boris.
Olga!
Yes, Boris.
I have just been talking with Patsy again.
Good, Boris. You are really getting friendly now.
Friendly? Patsy and I are more than friendly. We are getting along wonderful. She is wearing my bracelet, isn't she?
Yes, Boris, and that is good.
It is perfect, my sister. I do not think it will be long until Patsy is a member of the Russo family.
And a most welcome addition with her money.
The Russos are clever people.
Yes.
Again tonight after the show, we are going out together.
You will propose to her then?
No, not so fast. In good time, I will talk of marriage. Well, now I must hurry and change clothes. Get my blue suit down and brush it well.
Why do you dress now?
Because now I take the charming and wealthy Patsy to dinner.
I thought you said tonight you were going to take her out.
No, yes, tonight also, but now to dinner. I do not think I am overdoing my attentions to her. She likes me, Olga. She likes me. My shoes. Where are my shoes?
Here, Boris, here are your shoes, and polished too, you will notice.
Good. Thank you, sister. A clean shirt now, please.
Yes, Boris.
I feel young again, sister. This is not an unpleasant task, making love to such a beautiful young lady. How do I look, Olga?
You want me to tell you that you are handsome?
No, that will not be necessary. The looking glass tells me that.
Here is your hat. And it is a wonder this small hat fits such a big head.
You say that in jest, I hope.
Of course, Boris.
My gloves. Where are my gloves?
In your pocket, Boris.
Oh, yes, in my pocket. Well, I go now.
Goodbye, Boris.
I will be back in plenty of time for the show. Tell Nicholas to have everything ready and readiness for the act.
Everything will will be ready, Boris.
What is the matter, Rags? Don't you appreciate such fine singing? I guess you have never heard such fine singing before.
Right here. Oh, hello, Boris.
Hello, Jerry. Rags, I guess, doesn't like to hear me sing.
Were you singing?
Of course. What do you think I do? Holler fire?
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. I meant that, well, I didn't hear you.
Hello, Boris. You look pretty, well, I might say spiffy. Yes, I think I will say that. You look spiffy, Boris.
Spiffy? What is this spiffy?
It means you look good. You're all dressed up.
I am always dressed up. Of course, I look a little better now, because I am dressed for a special reason.
Oh, so that's it.
Yes, I am taking Patsy out to dinner.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And what's the matter with our own mess tent for dinner? The food always tastes good to me. Don't know why it shouldn't be good enough for anybody.
No, the food, it is all right. It is good, but, well, after all, the mess stop is hardly a place to take a young lady you are, how you say, courting?
Oh, yes.
Well, come on, Slap.
Where are you two going at this hour of the day?
We're going over to see Rosa.
Fortune-telling.
And what's the matter with fortune-telling?
Well, I do not believe in such foolishness. That is for children and weak-minded people.
Well, you might call Jerry a child, and as for me, perhaps I'm weak-minded. But I do believe in mystic powers. Yes, I do, Boris.
Rosa has said a lot of things that came true.
Bah, you only make yourself believe that.
Just the same, I lost my rhinestone ring, and I'll just bet you she can tell me where it is.
All right, have your fun. I must go now. I have more important things to do.
So he's taking Patsy out again.
Called me weak-minded, did he? A lot of shouting he can do. The idea, let's forget it. Nothing we can do anyway.
I sure don't like the way he pays so much attention to Patsy.
Seems to me you do an awful lot of worrying for other people, Jerry.
Oh, I can't help it. They're my friends, and I like to see them happy.
Of course you do, Jerry. Oh, look, we're in luck. There's Rosa outside her tent.
Oh, good.
Hello, Rosa.
Greg, now what did I just tell you?
Well, let him go, Jerry. He's going right over to Rosa.
Greetings to you, Jerry and Slab.
You busy, Rosa?
Busy? No, sir. Just doing a little needlework is all.
I'm going to ask you a favor, Rosa, if you don't mind.
Not at all, not at all. What is it, Slab?
Slat's lost a ring and thought maybe you could help him locate it.
A ring? My goodness. Well, that's too bad. I'm sorry, Slab.
Oh, it ain't so valuable, Rosa. It's just my rhinestone ring I wear with my costume. But I'm funny about things like that. I just don't feel right without it.
Of course you don't. I can understand. Come into the tent. I will look into the crystal, and we shall see if we can find where you lost it.
He looked every place for it.
Been searching for hours, I have.
Now you sit right down there, Rags, and we'll be right out.
Sit down, Slab. And, Jerry, you sit on that box there.
I hope I'm not putting you to any bother, Rosa.
Oh, no. It's no bother. I'm glad to do what I can. Let me have a look now.
It beats me how you can look into a piece of glass like that and see things. I'm sorry.
She has to concentrate.
Yes, I know.
I see. Uh-huh.
What is it, Rosa?
Just a minute. It is blue.
No, it's a gold ring with a big rhinestone.
No. It is blue. The coat.
The coat?
Yes. Let me see now. It is the same coat you have on.
I don't believe I get what you're driving at, Rosa.
The ring. It is in the pocket of that coat you have on.
Oh, that's once you're wrong, Rosa. Slats looked in every one of the pockets before he put it on. I saw him.
Rosa is not wrong. The ring is in the coat.
That makes me awful dumb, because I sure gave the coat a good going over. I even turned the pockets inside out.
Take off your coat, Slats. Let me look through it.
Okay. There it is.
The crystal does not lie. And the crystal says the ring is in the coat. Not here.
I don't think you'll find it, Rosa. You couldn't look any better than Slats did.
Not here. Wait.
Find something?
I think I did. And I think I have found the missing ring.
What?
Just wait now. Yes. That is it. That's what it is, all right.
Where?
Right here in the lining. You see? You have a hole in this pocket, and the ring fell down into the lining here. Here it is.
Well, I'll be switched if that isn't the best I ever did see. I'm Howdy.
Say, Rosa.
Yes, Jerry?
I was wondering. Well, would you mind very much?
You want your fortune told, don't you?
Well, yeah, I was going to ask if you would.
Sure I will. I'll just have a look in the crystal and see what's in store for you, Jerry.
Only tell him the good news.
I will tell him all I see. Well, this is something I cannot understand.
What is it, Rosa?
I see you dressed as a soldier. Yes, you've got a uniform on.
That's a good one. Me, a soldier.
I've always told you the truth, Jerry. That's what I see here.
Maybe you're going to join the army.
Ah, quit kidding. I'm too young to join the army.
Wait. There are many trees around you. Big, beautiful trees.
But that couldn't be. Don't you see, Rosa?
Rosa sees you in a uniform, and you will be in one.
I got it. I know what it is.
What, Slats?
You're going to get a new uniform for your act with El Mundo.
I'll bet you're right. That's just what it is.
No. You are not with the circus when you're wearing this uniform.
Not with the circus?
No.
Say, I am too going to be with the circus. I'm always going to be at the circus.
I'm only telling you what is in the crystal, Jerry. You will see. Rosa will be right again.
When is this going to happen?
No, I do not know. It's hard to say, but you will find out. It will come true, Jerry.
Is that all you see for me?
Yes, Jerry. That is all this time.
Thanks, Rosa. Maybe you can tell me more about it later.
Yes. I'll try some other time, Jerry.
Well, come on, soldier.
Okay, Slats.
And thanks for helping me out, Rosa.
You're welcome. Come and see me again.
Okay, we will. Goodbye. Come on, Rags.
Oh, you're going to be a soldier. What's the matter? Isn't the circus good enough for you?
Now, don't kid me, Slats. You know as well as I do that Rosa's wrong this time.
Don't kid yourself, Jerry. If she saw you in a uniform when she looked into that crystal of hers, then you're going to be in one. Of course, she protected herself by not predicting when it would be.
That was sure a good one on you when Rosa found your ring in the lining of your coat.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm in for it, I guess.
What do you mean?
I suppose you'll never quit kidding me about it.
Oh, I won't kid you at all. That could happen to anybody.
I'm glad you look at it that way, Jerry.
You gonna wash up first?
Now what are you talking about? Wash up first? Huh. And before what?
Before we go to eat.
Say, that's right. Uh-huh. It's about time for the flag to go up. Yeah. Well, let's go over to the wagon and wash up a little and put Rags in your wagon and get over and take on some food, huh?
That sounds perfect to me.
Hi there.
Who's that?
Oh, it's Whitey. Hello, Whitey.
Are you going over to eat?
Yep, getting a head start tonight. Say, Jerry.
Yeah, Whitey?
You know, I took a little nap after the matinee, and I fell asleep, and I had a dream about you.
About me?
Mm-hmm. And it sure was funny. You know, you had a soldier suit on, and you kept marching back and forth between two big trees.
What?
You're not kidding, Whitey.
Well, of course not. What's all the excitement about? I'm just telling you about a little dream I had.
Listen, I just had my fortune told by Rosa Rossi, and she told me just about the same thing.
Uh-huh. Maybe she saw Whitey's dream in her magic crystal.
Well, there's nothing to a dream. Well, the only reason I told you about it was because you looked so swell in that uniform you had on.
Dreams very seldom come true, Jerry.
I know, but Rosa said I was by some big trees, too. And what Whitey said and what she said is just about the same.
Oh, now, Jerry, don't get yourself all steamed up over nothing at all.
Yeah. Just take it easy and wait and see what happens.
the will was read, everybody figured she'd been crazy when she wrote it. And that included me. But I changed my mind after spending a night on an island with a pig, a cat, and an ape. Because in reality, they were people.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character as CBS presents The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. And now, with Gerald Moore starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's unusual story, Where There's a Will.
I had spent the whole day on a noisy job which had concerned itself with a lot of people who talked a lot and said nothing. When I finally locked up my office for the night, I was worn out. As I drove slowly along the street, I was glad to be heading for home and a little peace and quiet. At least that's what I thought. But when I pulled up for a full stop sign, only a half a block from my apartment, something happened which brought my little dream of peace and quiet to an end. The car door opposite me flew open and something mighty excited jumped in.
I'm being followed. Drive on, please.
The law?
No, please drive on.
Okay, lady, get a good grip on the upholstery. There, that ought to do it. Now, what's the... Say, you look a little pale and beautiful.
I'm always pale when my heart's in my mouth.
Well, then why don't you swallow once, take a deep breath, and tell me who was after you?
There isn't much to tell. He was a nasty little man, that's all I know. So thanks for making like Barney Oldfield, and good night.
Hey, not so fast. It's impolite to hitch and run.
Look, mister, right now I'm up to my earrings in trouble, and that leaves very little time for small talk with strangers. Even nice ones.
Well, in that case, the name is Philip Marlowe, which takes care of the stranger part, and I'm a private detective, which makes trouble my business. Where do we go from there?
No place. $300,000 worth of hidden bonds, a screwy old lady, and a sculptor with a red beard are too much for any one-man police force, Mr. Marlowe. So again, good night.
Before I could say anything, she was out and gone. There was only the heady scent of taboo in the air, and the memory of a gorgeous profile with jet black hair and pale blue eyes. I sighed like a schoolboy and decided to put her under the heading of things that pass in the night. But I couldn't. Why, out of all the cars in Los Angeles, should she have picked on mine? Well, the next morning, as I was walking down the corridor to my office door, I was still seeing pale blue eyes. Maybe that's why I didn't notice the man who waited outside my door until I was almost on top of him. He was well-dressed and about 35. He looked like a man who had forgotten how to smile.
Marlowe.
Right.
I want to compliment you on your behavior last night, Mr. Marlowe. Barbara told me about it.
Oh? Come on in, Mr.
Shields. Edward Shields. Would you be interested in aiding 3 people in a search for more than $250,000 in negotiable bonds, 1% of which will be yours if the bonds are found?
Being a fairly fast man with figures, yes, I would.
Splendid.
I'd like a few details.
Well, Mr. Marlowe, my aunt, Bernice Mayhew Shaw, died, leaving her entire fortune to charity, with the exception of the bonds I mentioned. Those are to be divided equally among 3 of us, the sole heirs, if we find them within 24 hours.
That sounds like something you dream about after a midnight snack of pizza and pig's knuckles.
Perhaps. But you didn't know my aunt. Beside myself, the beneficiaries are Barbara Haynes, the girl you met last night. She was Aunt Bernice's personal secretary. And another nephew, Harlan Crane, who, at the moment, happens to be a sculptor.
Happens to be?
6 months ago, he was a sailor. Before that, a writer, without even a rejection slip to his name. My cousin is irresponsible, impetuous, and completely self-indulgent.
The will itself, Mr. Shields, what are the exact conditions?
At precisely noon today, the 3 of us are to meet with Luther Willard, my beloved aunt's lawyer, who will give us each a large sheet of tissue paper covered with specific markings. Individually, the sheets mean absolutely nothing. But combined, one over the other, the transparent sheets form a coherent map to the location of the bond.
But why all the intrigue?
My dear departed aunt had a peculiar sense of humor. In addition to this, she was never particularly fond of any of us. She was sure that our individual shortcomings would make cooperation among us impossible, even for so short a period as 24 hours.
And the fact that a man followed Miss Haynes last night convinced you that there was something to that, huh?
Convinced me? No. He may have been nothing but a purse-snatcher. Nevertheless, I do feel that to play safe, a fourth party, a custodian of the map, so to speak, would be advisable.
That's fine. When do I go to work, Mr. Shields?
At noon, at the lawyer's office. However, I regret that first you must be approved by the third heir. I don't like to ask this, Mr. Marlowe, but would you mind very much calling on my cousin, Harlan, personally?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, I think he might prove very interesting.
Yes, I'm sure he will. As interesting as an ape in the zoo.
I felt like saying, look, Shields, I'm not as gullible as I look. But then I thought a client's a client, and I decided to play along. Harlan Crane, 6 foot, red-bearded giant, talked as he worked, wielding a 10-pound sculptor's mallet like it was an 18th century quill.
I'll be frank with you, Marlowe. Money isn't everything to me and never has been. However, $100,000 will buy a lot of marble.
Half the state of Vermont, I'd say. But coming to the point, Mr. Crane, do I get your seal of approval?
Oh, I imagine you'll be all right. Anyone who can get by Shields, the all-American Scrooge, ought to do.
Thanks, a million.
I'm not being personal where you're concerned. It's just a matter of facing a fact bluntly. Edward Shields is conniving, avaricious, and dull. I heartily recommend him to nobody.
And the girl, Barbara, you feel the same way about her?
No, I don't. And the truth of the matter, Marlowe, is that I know very little about Barbara Haynes. But what I do know, I like very much.
Yeah, that I can understand.
Well, do you realize that once you have the whole map in your possession, you're worth an awful lot of money?
Of course I do. The whole map, I have a market value of exactly $300,000.
That's right, fellow. $300,000, dead or alive.
I know it was small of me, but I didn't exactly see the joke. And things got less funny as time went on. Later, as me and my trio got off the elevator at the lawyer's office, old Luther Willard, Aunt Bernice's attorney, was waiting for us, so excited he could hardly talk.
I've been held up.
What?
A little man. He wanted the map.
Little man, dark complexion?
Yes. Had a scar on the side of his neck.
Are the maps all right?
The maps? Oh, yes, they're all right.
Now, wait a minute, everybody. Give him a chance. Mr. Willard, tell us exactly what happened.
This is Mr. Marlowe. We told you about him, Mr. Willard.
Of course, yes. Come into my office. You see, I was putting some papers into my safe when this little man stepped up behind me and demanded the maps.
Were they in the safe?
No, thank heavens. Make yourselves comfortable.
The maps, Mr. Willard. Where are they now?
Well, right here, where they were all the time. Here under the blotter on my desk. Clever of me, wasn't it? Wax seals, still intact.
I'll take all 3 of them right now, Mr. Willard. That is, if there are no objections. All right, then I guess we can be on our way.
Hold on, Mr. Marlowe. There are still 2 things you people must know. First, in the event the bonds are not recovered within the 24 hours, I am instructed to open another sealed envelope, which I am happy to report is kept in my bank vault. That envelope contains a complete and simplified map and is to be turned over to a designated charity. And second, if any of you die before the allotted time is up, the bonds are to be divided among the surviving persons.
And if none of us survives, Mr. Willard?
Why, in that case, the bonds again go to charity. You see, Harlan, your aunt was a very generous woman.
After arranging to meet with the 3 heirs at Shields' place later that afternoon, I headed for the nice and public library, where I figured I'd be able to examine the maps in safety. By placing the 3 maps exactly one over the other, I saw that the bonds were hidden on the larger of 2 squares of land called Twin Islands, which were the personal property of the late Bernice Mayhew Shaw, and located in Indian Lake in the San Bernardino Mountains. As I left the library with the 3 maps in my pocket, I felt like a well-fed mallard on the opening day of hunting season. And then I knew I was being followed. As I slipped into a doorway and turned, I saw it was the nasty little man with the scar.
All right, you. We're through playing tag.
Oh, let me go.
Not yet, Shorty. Not until you talk loud and clear.
No, don't hit me, please. Please hit me down. I'll tell you everything.
All right. If you're sure you can get it all straight the first time, there. Now, the whole story, beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, like you say. Whole story. Okay. Starts like this. Oh!
By the time I figured out that it had been the sawed-off end of a broomstick that had slammed my stomach up against my backbone, the little man was out of sight. Another 5 minutes went by before I quit calling myself sucker and I started to think straight. The nearest public locker was in the Santa Fe Trailways bus depot on Cahuenga. I went up there and deposited 2/3 of the map for safekeeping until we were ready to leave for Indian Lake. And I found a telephone, and a half a dozen calls later I knew that a caretaker named Jumbo was the sole inhabitant of Twin Islands, and my last call was to him. I wanted some kind of a welcoming committee ready for us. When I left the phone booth, it was only 1 o'clock. So I returned to my apartment where I figured I'd rest until 3, when we were all to meet at Shields' place. But that was my second mistake. Because the moment I closed my apartment door, I was positive I wasn't going to get much rest. I had an unannounced visitor.
Yeah, you look surprised, Mr. Marlowe.
I am. I didn't recognize you at first without your broomstick.
Yeah, I traded that in on this .22 target pistol here. It's more expensive, but it's better. Makes me as big as you are. Maybe bigger.
Yeah, but how much does it do for your personality?
Quite a bit. Gives me poise. And poise gives me manners. So in asking for that nap in your pocket, I'll even say please. Come on, Marlowe. I won't say please twice.
No, I don't think you would. Here.
Thank you. Now, before I go, one more thing. The hall outside here is straight and narrow, right to the stairs, and that makes it fine for shooting. So after I step out, don't do anything rash. For a while.
So, loving life as I do, I didn't do anything rash for a while. In fact, I could have whipped up a nice 7-minute frosting before I moved at all. And I phoned the 3 heirs to get together at my apartment. When I finally had them all seated in front of me, I related the saga of the little man, including my premonition that one of the 3 present was signing his paychecks. Of course, I got nothing but Cupid-doll innocence out of any of them. So after adding that we'd get underway just as soon as the missing 1/3 of the map was returned to me, I threw my trench coat over my arm and told them I was going for a walk. But before leaving them, I reminded them that whoever was behind the little man could fire him, because I would never have kept all 3 maps in one place anyway, unless all of the heirs were on hand to watch one another. And then I left. I hadn't walked more than a half a block up Franklin when I stopped at the sound of Barbara running after me.
Phil, I'm scared. Harlan and Shields are acting like a couple of wild men, calling each other every name under the sun.
What'd you expect? Chit-chat about the weather? I quit acting like a bobby soxer within squealing distance of Sinatra and try a cigarette. It'll calm your...
What is it, Phil? Why are you smiling like that? What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong, Barbara. Nothing. It's just that I found this in the pocket of my trench coat when I went for my cigarettes.
It's the map.
That's right. The missing 3rd. It's back already. When that missing 3rd part of the map turned up so fast, I figured the heirs had decided to play ball. But I made a mental note to keep my eyes on them anyway. At 3 o'clock, I went to Edward Shields' hillside house in Laurel Canyon for the scheduled meeting. Shields wasn't home yet, but Cousin Harlan was there, admiring the view. Barbara showed up a few minutes later in a convertible, and Shields arrived last by cab. It finally began to look as though we might actually start out all together.
Well, I see we all arrived, safe and sound.
Yeah. Disappointed?
Only by your clumsy attempts at humor, Harlan.
Stop it, boys. Let's get started. Phil, have you looked at the map? Where are we going?
To Indian Lake. It's a 4-hour drive, so if you're all ready, I suggest we get started.
Very well. I'll go up to the garage and get the car.
So Aunt Bernice hid the bonds in a roost at Twin Islands, eh? Well, well, well.
Nobody seemed surprised at the location Aunt Bernice had chosen to hide her bonds. And Holland, Barbara, and I stood on the front porch watching Shields as he climbed the very steep driveway to his garage in the car. But Barbara got more of my attention than Shields. She made a mighty dreamy picture. And she leaned casually back against the rail of the porch. She wasn't aware that I was watching her. And I suddenly saw her go tense, her eyes filled with fear, and I quickly turned to follow her stare. Shields' car was going at a rapid clip down the steep driveway. I still couldn't figure out Barbara's concern, and then she started screaming.
The car's out of control.
The car was headed for the edge of a cliff.
His brakes are out.
He'll go over. The tree stopped him.
Shields, are you hurt?
No, I'm all right. The brakes. I tried to stop
He
them.
hadn't hit that tree.
Should have gone over the edge.
Let's have a look at those brakes, Shields. Well, no wonder.
What is it?
Brake line's broken. Every drop of fluid drained out.
I might have been killed.
No might about it, Shields. We stood there for a while, all looking at one another, but nothing was said. Brake lines rarely snap accidentally. And I remembered that Holland had been at Shields' house early, and the car had been in the garage, and Barbara... Well, I had to admit that she actually had anticipated the car going out of control. Well, the 24 hours for finding the bonds was slipping by, and I knew we had to get to Indian Lake. We held a short powwow without passing the peace pipe, and we decided to take Barbara's car. We picked up the rest of the map, which I'd checked at the bus station, and we shoved off. After a 4-hour drive that was about as relaxing as the thought of an overdue time bomb in a day nursery, we finally pulled up to the shores of Indian Lake. Jumbo, the caretaker, was waiting at the dock. He knew how to handle a boat, and a few minutes later we could see Twin Islands. We headed for the smaller of the two, where I could make out a rambling lodge. The other island, a quarter of a mile away, seemed deserted. Shields was the first one ashore.
Here, Barbara, let me help you.
Run along, boy. I'll help Barbara.
Thanks, Harlan. Well, Marlowe, what now?
Well, first we go up to the house. Oh, Jumbo, you got everything ready for us? Hey, Jumbo.
Huh? Oh, sure, everything's ready, Mr. Marlowe. It's like you said, I opened 4 of the upstairs rooms.
Open the rooms? We're not going to sleep out here, are we?
We're going to try.
But this isn't a vacation. We're here to find the bonds and get out. You realize it's almost 9 already?
That leaves us just 15 hours, Marlowe.
Yeah, I know. I got a good watch, and I count to 24, and I'm also giving orders to
Don't
you 3.
get high-handed, Marlowe. You're an employee of ours, and that's all. Let's get the map together and start looking for those bonds right now.
Take it easy, big man. The bonds are hidden on the other island. The map is as tangled as a second-hand spider web. We wouldn't get anything at all down in the dark.
That's your opinion.
Look, you people hired me to help you find those bonds. If I have to get nasty to make you take orders, I can do that, too. Now, let's play like we're smart and go up to the lodge and relax.
All right, Marlowe. But remember, we'd better have those bonds by tomorrow, or someone else will be nasty. Very nasty. And I mean me.
What? You too? Getting the 3 heirs settled down at dinner table was quite a chore. And when I was sure they'd keep an eye on each other, I slipped outside. I hid 1/3 of the map in a drain pipe. Then I went upstairs to my room, and I hid another 1/3 in the window shade. Now, the maps were settled, and I began to think about other things, like the accident to Shields' car. And there were too many accidents and coincidences to suit me. So I decided to drop in on Cousin Holland's room to see what I could see. After 15 fruitless minutes, I was about to leave when something in the wastebasket caught my eye. The corner of a half-hidden handkerchief monogrammed H.C. I had just picked it up when I saw Jumbo standing in the open door.
That handkerchief there in your hand. That blood on it?
No, it looks more like brake fluid. And in this case, it's practically the same thing, huh? I think we'll leave it right here in the wastebasket, Jumbo. Oh, did you want something?
Just wanted to say I'll be in my own place out back if you want me.
Okay. You know where Mr. Shields is?
He's out in the veranda.
Alone?
Yeah?
Thanks, Jumbo. If I need anything, I'll call you. Good night. Shields.
Oh, it's you, Marlowe. What's wrong?
You sound like a man expecting trouble.
I was nearly killed in my car this afternoon, and I don't think that was the end of it.
Yeah, and don't stand too close to high windows.
Thank you. It's comforting to know that I am not alone in my suspicions.
Maybe, how are you betting? On the beauty or the beast?
Don't be absurd.
I hope someday to marry Barbara.
Yeah? Well, a guy might be beating your time right now with a sculptor's mallet.
You may be naive, Mr. Marlowe, but Barbara isn't. I saw them just a moment ago walking down to the boathouse. Harlan's galloping after her like a half-baked idiot, as usual. But if Miss Haynes prefers me, what can he do about it?
There was an answer for that, but it seemed a little obvious under the circumstances. Well, a few minutes later, Shields went inside, and I made a beeline for the boathouse to water down a certain hot-headed sculptor named Harlan. When I got within earshot, I knew I'd be as welcome as whooping cough at a glassblower's convention. So I stopped and listened.
Barbara, darling, I'm falling in love with you. You know that, don't you? Let me hold you close.
Harlan, Oh, Harlan.
This is real, Barbara. For the first time in my life, I'm truly in love. I want to do things for you, make you happy.
Please wait. I'm not completely free. There are still ties with Edward, you know.
Shields. That fat, stingy Babbitt. He's no man for you. Why, if he so much as touches you from now on up... Wait a minute, Barbara. Marlowe, you cheap snooping eavesdropper.
He's dropping some minor vice compared to some of the shenanigans going on around here.
What do you mean by that?
A word to the wise is sufficient. You, I'll give a few more. Now, somebody's trying to cut our little triangle down to two sides before noon tomorrow. What I've seen so far I don't like, so I'm warning everybody.
What are you accusing me of? Well,
Harlan, stop it. Don't be a fool. Will you cavemen control yourselves until those bonds are found? Come on, Harlan, let's go in. Good night, Marlowe. Don't get your head caught in any transoms.
Deciding sleep wouldn't be very healthy for a man in my position, I decided to sit up that night. It was about 2 o'clock when I looked out the window and saw something mighty interesting. A light was moving on the other island opposite us. I got hold of Jumbo and we went over there as fast as we could.
There we're beach. That light's dead ahead, Mr. Marlowe. Looks to me like it's up on the picnic shelter.
Yeah, I'll see you later, Jumbo.
Who's there?
Guess who?
Oh, Marlowe. I didn't hear you come up. The wind's too strong, I guess. I'm glad to see you. Spooky here all alone.
Oh, sure. What's the idea? Decide to do a little freelance prospecting?
No, that's right. Bernice Mayhew loved this spot, and I had a hunch she hid the bonds here in the base of this table. Oh, I guess I was wrong. Oh, come on, Marlowe. Limber up. You can't blame me for trying.
Listen, beautiful, don't flap your eyelashes at me. I can't see anything but double crosses right now. All right, if you've had your fun, let's go back to the lodge,
Don't be that way, Phil. Phil, the sun will be coming up in 2 or 3 hours. Why not wait for it here with me?
Barbara, baby, don't burn up too many calories with that routine. Because I only keep 1/3 of the map on me.
You think you're so smart.
Bright ideas hatch in that cute little brain of yours, too. Now let's... Oh, comes the gun with a pearl handle, no less.
Stay away from me, Marlowe. Over there.
Hey, what's going on here, anyway?
Jumbo!
Look out, Jumbo! Jumbo stepped into the light and Barbara turned. I made a swipe at her gun hand that knocked pistol, purse, and lamp all over the picnic shelter. I found the gun and gave it to Jumbo. Then I started to pick up an assortment of knickknacks that had spilled out of a purse. But I never finished, because one of the items made my eyes pop. It was the monogrammed handkerchief covered with brake fluid that I'd found in Holland's room. It all made sense now. It tied up everything that I'd suspected right along. Only 2 of my trio had planned to split up the $300,000 worth of bonds from the first. As I ran for the motor launch, I yelled at Jumbo to bring Barbara over in the rowboat. All the way back, I had the panicky feeling that I was probably too late. But when I sneaked in the front door of the lodge, there were still 2 voices, and they came from the open kitchen door. With my hand on my gun, I edged along the wall and peeked in.
Shields, you're a fool.
Perhaps. But I'm going to kill you and have a perfect case of self-defense.
What are you talking about?
Your hopelessly framed cousin, Harlan. I ruined the brakes on my own car. I planted your handkerchief, stained with brake fluid, in your room. Marlowe found it. He's convinced that you tried to kill me. He's also convinced that he was brought into this whole thing by coincidence. He doesn't know that he was deliberately involved in our search for the bonds, just so he'd make a reputable witness.
You're out of your mind.
Not at all. I'm going to kill you and say it was self-defense. Marlowe will testify that you tried to kill me before.
What Marlowe's going to do is blow your head off if you don't drop that gun, Shields.
Marlowe?
Yeah, Marlowe.
Who knows he wasn't brought into this thing by coincidence, but has stuck around to see the fireworks and who almost saw them just now.
Bill, what's happened?
Barbara, couldn't you hold Marlowe on the other island? You
Shut up, Shields. Barbara's little mistake was that she should have gotten rid of Holland's handkerchief after she took it out of his room so he wouldn't see it.
Barbara, I don't understand. You planned all this with Shields against me?
Well, I did in the beginning, Harlan, but I changed my mind when I fell in love with you. I let Marlowe find the handkerchief in my purse. I wanted him to stop Edward. Oh, darling, don't you see...
Come on, Miss Bankhead. Cut the dramatics. The show's over. Let's have it straight, huh?
All right. We might as well if we're going to find those bonds before it's too late. Edward and I did plan it. We even hired the little man who tried to get the maps from you.
And when that didn't work, you planned to get rid of Holland and split the $300,000.
So we failed. So what? We're right back where we started. 100,000 apiece. Now let's go find those bonds.
Not so fast, beautiful. What happened to Holland just now was a little more serious than a hot foot. It was attempted murder. He can slap you two in the jug this minute if he wants to. But I'll leave it up to him. Okay, Holland, what do you say? It's your move.
No. I've got a better idea. Marlowe, 1/3 of that map is mine. Give it to me.
Okay. There it is.
Harlan, what are you going to do?
Harlan, no. Don't burn it.
There. Now we all lose. Now none of us will get the bonds. That's probably how Aunt Bernice wanted it anyway.
It was almost noon. I was standing on the veranda of the lodge, and a scrawny old crow was perched up on the roof. I saw Barbara and Shields quietly pull away in a boat with Jumbo, and I saw Holland lumbering off to the far end of the island to sulk. And as I watched the three of them, I couldn't help thinking. A pig in a pinstripe suit, an ape with a red beard, and an alley cat in nylon. Yeah. Keep laughing, Aunt Bernice. You were right. Greed, treachery, and rashness don't mix, even for 24 hours. And the 1% of the bonds I was to get? Well, that's my contribution to charity. Who knows? Maybe I can take it off my income tax.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, created by Raymond Chandler, stars Gerald Moore and is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Featured in tonight's story were Mary Shipp, Parley Bear, Don Diamond, Ted Von Eltz, and Wilms Herbert. The special music was conceived and conducted by Richard Orant. Be sure to be with us again next week when Philip Marlowe says...
When I got the crisp $50 bill in advance, I figured my client had a heart of gold. But after I was beat up, double-crossed, and shot at, I realized just how hard a heart of gold could be.
Raymond Chandler, Dashiell Hammett, John Dixon Carr, three great names in the world of mystery and thrills. One down, two to go today on CBS. Now that you've heard Raymond Chandler's Philip Marlowe in action, CBS invites you to hear Dashiell Hammett's Sam Spade in action tonight, followed by John Dixon Carr's personally written radio series, Cabin B-13. Chandler, Hammett, Carr, today and every Sunday, over most of these CBS stations. It's a mystery if you miss them. Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Pepsi-Cola, P-E-P-S-I. That's your smartest cola buy. Pepsi-Cola presents Counterspy.
Washington calling David Harding, Counterspy. Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
United States Counterspies, especially appointed to investigate and combat the enemies of our country, both at home and abroad.
Tonight, the case of the Blackmailed Hijacker, a counter-spy report to the American people. Brought to you each Tuesday and Thursday by Pepsi-Cola.
Pepsi-Cola, hits the spot, 2 full glasses, that's a lot.
That's right, you heard what they said. 2 full glasses of sparkling Pepsi from one big 12-ounce bottle. You're getting an extra glassful. And what a delicious glassful. The most refreshing, delightful cola that ever tickled your taste. You can't top Pepsi's tangy flavor. And that big, big bottle saves you money, goes twice as far. Pepsi is America's big, big favorite. And America's biggest cola value. So why take less when Pepsi's best? Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember,
why take less when Pepsi's best?
And now, to Counterspy. Shortly after midnight, last February 3rd, a heavy truck carrying 10 tons of high explosives to a government arsenal was rolling along a foggy, mountainous stretch of Highway 9W in eastern Pennsylvania. The driver, Larry Mason, held the wheel tightly.
Hey, Vince. Yeah? Vince, can you see anything? The fog's getting thicker by the minute, Larry. For the love of Mike, Larry, if you got a whistle, at least change that tune.
You know, we should have stopped before we hit this road, Vince. With that 10 tons of nitro we got in the back, one slip and my wife cashes in my insurance.
Hey, Larry, up ahead.
Yeah, looks like a car skidded right across the road.
Slow it down.
I don't see the driver. Do you, Vince?
No.
Well, we better get out and take a look. Maybe we can help the guy.
Yeah.
I'll get out on your side, too.
Okay, you two. Hold everything.
Guy with a gun.
Hey, what is this?
Get away from that truck. This is a hijack, sweetheart.
And this is the trick I learned in the Army.
Oh, kick me, will ya?
Vince, look out!
Urgent to all Counterspy field offices, District 3. Mr. Harding now in Pittsburgh field office to take charge of following case. Truck hijacking last night, Highway 9W, eastern Pennsylvania. Relief driver Vince Dugan killed. Killer tentatively identified as one Sid Marlowe. See Counterspy file. Identification made by surviving driver of truck Larry Mason.
Lock the door for you, Carol?
Oh, no, Larry. I'm only going to the supermarket. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I've got to buy a lot of groceries, darling. It's got time to help me carry them back.
Well, kiddo, I'm due downtown at the Counterspy field office to see David Harding.
I wish you'd let me go with you.
No, I don't want you to have anything to do with
Larry.
murders and ex-convicts.
Hey, Larry Mason.
Oh, hello, Steve.
Hey, Larry. Going downtown, huh?
Yeah. Steve, this is the wife, Carol. Honey, it's Steve Kramer, chief truck dispatcher down at the company for 6 or 7 years.
Oh, Mrs. Mason, Larry hadn't ought to keep you to himself.
Thanks, Mr. Kramer. Oh, Larry, I'm going on to the market. See you at supper, honey.
So long, kiddo.
Lucky you, Larry.
Don't I know it. Going downtown, too, Steve? I'm kind of in a hurry.
Counterspy field office, huh?
Yeah, 9 o'clock to identify the guy who killed Vince Dugan.
How about a lift?
Oh, you got your car, Steve?
A friend of mine's got his right over here.
Good.
I happened to spot you, so we stopped.
Good enough.
Hop in, Larry. Thanks. This is a friend of mine, Mr. Rango, Larry Mason.
Hiya.
Good morning. You in, Steve?
Take off. Hey,
Larry, I've been telling Mr. Marengo what pals you and Vince Dugan were.
Vince was a great guy.
Yes, it was an unfortunate accident, Larry.
It wasn't an accident, Mr. Marengo. That rotten dog just shot Vince down.
I understand the Counterspy's already picked up the guy who killed Vince from the description you gave him.
Yeah.
Character named Sid Barlow. All they need now is for you to pick the guy out of the lineup.
I'll never forget that killer's face. I'll pick him out all right.
Larry, maybe you won't pick Barlow out.
Why wouldn't I hang it on Barlow if he's the guy?
Tell him, Steve.
Larry, 3 years ago, a con got out of the state jug in Ohio after a stretch for manslaughter. Truck accident.
Yeah.
He comes here to Pittsburgh, changes his name to Larry Mason, and gets a job with our company as truck driver. Under false pretenses.
How did you know?
Also, Larry, last year you married a very lovely girl.
I'll say.
But, of course, you didn't tell Carol about your prison term, did you?
Now, listen.
What Carol doesn't know won't hurt her, eh, Larry?
Carol doesn't have to know. Does she, Steve?
Oh, Mr. Marengo, nobody has to know. That's up to Larry.
So that's the setup.
Steve, it's 8:45. We'll drive Larry down to the Counterspy field office. Mr. Harding will be waiting for it. Mr. Harding, here's Larry Mason.
Mr. Harding?
Good morning, Larry. Sit down here with Peters and me.
Yes.
This is our lineup room, Larry. In a few seconds, several men will come out on that platform up there behind glass. Sid Barlow among them. Now, I want you to pick out the killer.
Yes, sir.
The lights are so arranged that we can see the men, but they can't see us. And they can't hear us either. Conway.
Yes, Mr. Harding?
We're ready, Conway. You can send them out.
Yes, sir. Okay, boys, you want it on stage.
There they are, Larry. Well?
The second man from the left, he looks something like him.
Take your time.
Well, I'm not positive now. You know, I only saw the killer from the side.
Just a minute. Conway, second man from the left, turn to the right.
Second man from the left, turn to the right.
He seems taller.
You see the man you described to us the other day?
Well, I'm not so sure now. You know, it was dark that night.
Larry, Vince Dugan was your closest friend. You have a deep personal interest in bringing his murderer to trial.
Sure.
But there's even more to this case. Recently, a number of trucks carrying nitromethylene, a powerful explosive, have been hijacked.
Yes, that's what we were carrying the other night.
Well, Larry, we suspect that some big international racketeer is shipping these stolen explosives to a dangerous anti-American group in the Far East. Can make all kinds of international trouble.
Yes, sir, I see.
Now, if you can point out the killer, you'll be helping us smash a dangerous international racket. Now, can you identify one of those men as the murderer of Vince Dugan?
Mr. Harding, he's not there. Not the one who killed Vince Dugan.
Mason, your original description of the murderer was an amazingly exact one and detailed. You were eager to see him punished. I'd like to know what's changed your mind. All right, Mason. You can go.
Yeah, Larry, this is Steve. I left a message for you to call me. Listen, I made a date for you with Mr. Marengo, and you better come. 8 o'clock tonight in this penthouse apartment. I'll pick you up.
Larry, I want to thank you for not identifying Barlow yesterday at the Counterspy field office.
Keep your thanks, Marengo.
Larry, that's no way to act, Mr. Marengo.
Well, there's nothing to talk about, Steve. You two got what you wanted, and that was the deal.
Yes, Larry, that was that deal. Now I have a new deal for you.
Chance to make some real dough, Larry. Not the measly dough you get for pushing a truck around for our company.
I'm satisfied.
Nothing so stubborn as a reformed convict, eh, Steve?
Larry, I'm scheduling you to take a load of explosives for the company tomorrow night to another arsenal at Bay City, alone. That powder don't get to Bay City.
You see, Larry, some of my men will be waiting to meet your truck on the highway.
Mr. Marengo, is it all set up, Larry? All you do is take one on the chin to make the hijack look clean.
Nothing doing. It's no deal, Marengo. I paid you off. I did what you wanted, and I'm through.
Larry, what about David Harding?
Harding? What do you mean?
Larry, you did a very bad thing when you took the finger off Sid Barlow. You, an ex-con, deliberately deceived Harding. You see, Larry, you have to accept my offer. My men will expect you tomorrow night. What's the setup, Peter?
Larry Mason's taking a load of explosives to the Bay City Arsenal tonight, Dave, alone.
Oh, it's a perfect situation for Mason to allow himself to be hijacked.
But do we allow it, Dave?
Tell you what, we'll set up observation posts all along Mason's route. Now, besides, you tail him in a car. Take at least 3 more men, armed for a capture if necessary. I'll keep in touch with all of you from the communications room.
Mr. Harding, Conway reporting from Greenvale. Truck driven by Larry Mason stopped here 11:35 p.m. While he was cleaning his license, I checked his speedometer. Reading 22,314 miles.
Greenvale, 11:35. Driving time checks, mileage checks. Thanks, Conway.
Adams reporting from Pine City, Mr. Harding. Larry Mason's time here, 1:05 a.m. Speedometer reading 22,367.
Time and mileage check. And Adams, Peters and 3 men are tailing Mason's truck in a car, ready for trouble if it comes. Keep an eye out for them.
Peters calling Harding from pursuing car. Something's up.
What is it?
Larry Mason has just turned his truck off the main highway.
What's your location now?
A dirt road, alternate 6A, leading up into the mountains.
It's an even better spot for a planned hijacking than the highway, Peters. Keep following. Keep me informed.
Peters to Harding. Larry Mason finished his run to the Bay City Arsenal without incident.
You mean nothing unusual happened on that long detour he took through the mountains?
Not a thing, Dave.
The driver doesn't take a truckload of high explosive on a dangerous detour just for the thrill. Stick close to him. Let's see what he does next.
Dave.
Hey, Dave, wake up. Oh, Peters, I guess I dozed off in my chair waiting all night for you to call again. Hey, what are you doing back here in Pittsburgh?
I tailed Mason all the way back from Bay City.
No trouble?
Admittedly, it looked like a hijack set up at first, but nothing happened. He came back, left his truck in the main garage, and went home.
Larry Mason is a very puzzling young man. You'll have to find some way of unpuzzling him.
Sorry I woke you, Carol.
Oh, it's you, Larry. You said you wouldn't be back from Bay City until tomorrow.
Well, we have no phone here. I couldn't call you.
Darling, what are you doing?
Where's my suitcase?
Well, it's in your closet.
I'll get it.
Larry, what's wrong?
Well, I'm just taking my clothes.
Larry, please. What's happened? Larry, you're in trouble.
No, there's no trouble. I'm just fed up with Pittsburgh.
That's not true. You're running out on me, aren't you? Oh, Larry.
Carol, no. Honest, honey, I wasn't running. Listen, Carol, I'm in a jam. See, I have to get out of Pittsburgh now, tonight.
I don't care what it is, darling. If you'll just tell me.
Well, there's no time to tell you. Will you come with me?
Larry, you know I will.
Oh, of all times not to have a phone. Look, I'll go down to the Crescent Airport and get tickets now, fast.
All right.
You pack, grab a taxi, and meet me at the airport as soon as you can.
Yes.
And don't worry, honey. Everything's going to be fine. Just fine.
Taxi! Taxi! Crescent Airport driver, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, will you help me with some suitcases? They're on the porch.
Mason, going someplace?
What? Why, yes. Who are you?
Get in the cab.
Just a minute.
I told you to get in.
Driver! Driver, this man! Stop him!
Okay, pal, let's go. All right.
Let me out of here. Do you hear me?
Not yet, Mrs. Mason.
Where are you taking me? What do you want?
I want you to give a message to your husband.
Larry?
A special kind of message, Mrs. Mason. The kind your husband will understand.
What are you talking about?
Mrs. Mason, the next time your husband is told to do something, it's got to be done right.
But
No side roads, no stand-ups. The next time he delivers, or something fatal will happen to you, to him too. That's the message. Now, Mrs. Mason, just make sure he gets the message straight.
No, push me out, please!
Back to Counterspy in a moment. But first...
Pepsi-Cola, it's a spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Lots more value, lots more zest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
More and more, among fellows and girls, among mothers and dads, you hear that sane and sensible question, why take less when Pepsi is best? No budget, no allowance ever had a better friend than tangy, sparkling Pepsi-Cola. Because one big 12-ounce Pepsi bottle gives you 2 delicious drinks. That's twice as much tangy taste, twice as much delicious Pepsi, to go just twice as far. That's why more and more families say, why take less when Pepsi's best? Yes, families like yours and mine. Families all over America. They're all saying, why take less when Pepsi's best?
Pepsi-Cola so delicious and each bottle makes 2 drinks. It is certainly the cola for the purchaser who thinks everybody's drinking Pepsi. Just compare it with the rest. So much more and so much finer. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
Today, tomorrow, always. Get America's biggest cola value. Take home a carton of 6 big Pepsi bottles. Insist on Pepsi at the store. And say Pepsi at the fountain. Say Pepsi at the stand. Say Pepsi. Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember...
Why take less when Pepsi's best?
Now, back to Counterspy.
7 Continental Airlines, Pittsburgh to St. Louis, now loading at Gate 4.
Hello, Larry.
Oh, Mr. Peters.
Mr. Harding's in that car over there. He wants to talk with you.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm in a hurry.
Larry, Mr. Harding said he wanted to talk to you.
Well, okay.
All right, get in. Hello, Larry. I'm afraid you're not leaving town, Larry.
What?
I saw you buy 2 plane tickets 10 minutes ago.
So you saw me buy tickets. Is that a crime?
Larry, you're a material witness in a murder case. I could have you held in custody for this.
Yes, I guess you could.
But I'm not going to. Instead, we're going back to your home. When we get there, you and your wife and I...
My wife? Well, she's got nothing to do with all this.
Larry, a few hours ago, we received certain files. They explain some of your recent actions. Now I want you to be completely honest with me.
I was, right along.
Larry, we not only want to clean up this hijack case and Vince Dugan's murderer, but we also want to help you and Mrs. Mason.
I tell you, she doesn't know anything about this.
Emergency flash, Mr. Harding. Peters, car C8, go ahead.
Conway, where are you now, Peters?
Right outside Crescent Airport with Mr. Harding.
Good. On that hijacking case, we just got a flash from City Hospital. A woman identified as Mrs. Larry Mason
Carol.
was just brought into the emergency ward. She was beaten and thrown from a moving car. She said her husband was at the airport. I knew you'd gone out there.
What's Mrs. Mason's condition, Conway?
Very serious. She's been given sedatives. Can you locate Larry Mason there?
He's right with us. We'll head for the hospital. Step on it, Peter. Use your firearm. Right. Larry, now will you cooperate with us?
Well, the dirty, rotten skunks.
All along you've been trying to protect your wife, haven't you?
That's right.
She didn't know about your record, did she?
You know now I was a con. No, I never told Carol, and I was sure a jerk not to. Okay, Mr. Harding, how do you want me to help?
After we see your wife, I think you can start working back in that garage.
Hey, Larry, I want to talk to you.
Yes, Steve?
Some stunt you pulled taking a detour last night and ducking the hijack setup.
I thought it was a good stunt.
We're giving you one more chance. For your sake, don't disappoint Mr. Marengo again.
What's the deal?
I'm scheduling you to take a nitro load to the Western Arsenal tonight.
What road?
Route 63 through the Elder Valley. Mr. Marengo's boys will be waiting for you in the valley. By the way, Larry, I'm sorry about what happened to that pretty missus of yours.
Someday I'm going to flatten your face for that, so help me.
Oh, it wasn't my doing. It was Marengo's idea.
Well, after this deal, Steve, we're through.
Yeah, sure, Larry. Tonight you meet the boys in the Elder Valley, and then we're through. There's the lights on Mason's truck, Mr. Marengo. Stopped down there in the valley. Your boys signaled it?
Yes, Steve.
See, I told you Larry Mason would show this time.
Lucky for you. My business is too rich to take chances.
Chances?
I've decided the truck will not be hijacked.
Not after I set everything up and all your boys down there got to do is go to work?
You don't understand. It'll only appear that the truck wasn't hijacked.
I don't get you, Mr. Marengo.
Right now, Sid Barlow and the rest of my men are removing most of the powder from that truck, as I originally planned. What they leave will be used to destroy the truck and Larry Mason.
Kill Larry Mason? Hey, it'll look like an accident, huh?
And we won't have to worry anymore about trusting him or not. Both he and the truck will be blown to bits.
Mr. Marengo, this is something I gotta see.
Oh, you'll see it, Steve. You and I both will. Ah. Flashing the signal to me from up here. Everything's ready.
Now, huh?
Yes, Steve. In a moment.
Shouldn't go near that exploded truck, Mr. Marengo. Suppose other cars come along.
Then we just act like horrified witnesses. Here's the road.
And here's what's left of the truck.
Careful.
Huh?
Not all of the explosives may have gone up at once. See, there's still some flames.
Some flames there, but not much truck.
A very powerful explosive. Is it not, Steve?
I'll say. Hey, are your boys supposed to be close by with the other cans of explosive?
Yes. Yes, but Barlow should be at this spot to report to me.
Why isn't he here? Hey, take another look at the wreckage.
What's the matter?
Here's where the driver's cab was. Only where's Larry? Where's his body?
Peculiar, Steve. Very peculiar.
First your boys, no sign of them. Then no sign of Larry.
Don't understand it.
You sure nothing could have gone wrong?
My orders were clear. Hijack the truck, remove most of the explosive, blow up the truck and Larry Mason with the rest.
Yeah, but if Larry's dead, where is he?
Steve, I'm over here.
Marengo, did you hear that? That was Larry.
What? Impossible.
I know his voice. He's alive. Over behind those trees.
Get your gun out.
I got it.
I'll try to get him to show himself. When he does, shoot.
Leave it to me.
Larry,
What do you want, Marengo?
we want to talk to you. Come out.
I'm hurt. I can't move. You got to go here.
Come on, Steve. Where are you exactly, Larry?
You'll find out, but not till Steve puts away his gun.
Not a chance. No, Steve. Do it. We can get it out again quickly when we get closer. Now, come on.
Stop where you are.
Why, what's the matter, Larry?
I've got a gun, too. Stay where you are, right in that patch of moonlight where I can see you plainly. Now, first, we're going to get a couple of things straight.
What's he trying to do? Quiet.
What is it, Larry?
You've got to remember, I know that Sid Barlow murdered Vince Dugan.
Yes, but what of it?
And I know you and Steve got sore because I was spoiling your hijack racket. You tried to kill me tonight by blowing up my truck.
That was all a mistake, Larry. From now on, we'll be good friends and trust each other.
Okay, Marengo, Steve, hands in the air.
Well,
Counterspy, Marengo, you're surrounded.
Counterspy, it's a trick.
All right, get their guns, Peter. Right. I'll handle Marengo.
No, my face. All right, see, my hands are down.
All right, Larry, leave him alone.
There he is, Mr. Harding, a nice murdering quit.
You've done a good job all around, Larry, but you can leave him to us.
He squealed. He trapped us.
Marengo, Steve, your whole plan went wrong. After we took your triggerman Barlow and the rest of your mob, we set off that explosion.
You? What?
Exactly as you had planned, except that Larry left the truck first. From the things you admitted to him a moment ago, we've got enough to send you and all your gang away for the rest of your lives.
When your friends drop in, be generous, but be thrifty, too. Serve plenty of delicious Pepsi-Cola. Pepsi's big 12-ounce bottle gives you not just one sparkling glassful, but two. Get a carton of 6 and serve 12 delicious drinks. Yes, Pepsi is America's biggest cola value. You get twice the tangy taste, twice the refreshment, twice the Pepsi. So why take less when Pepsi's best? Whenever you reach for refreshment, remember,
Pepsi-Cola, it's the spot. 2 full glasses, that's a lot. Lots more value, lots more zest. Why take less when Pepsi's best?
tune in every Tuesday and Thursday, same time, same station, to Counterspy. Listen next Thursday for the exciting Counterspy case of the Murmured Millions.
The seashore rendezvous between two men that changed the lives of thousands of women. The lone wolf swindler who demonstrated that words speak louder than actions. And the enormous lips that accused a racketeer a quarter-mile away. Be sure to listen Thursday, day after tomorrow, to
The Case of the Murmured Millions on Counterspy. Tonight's Counterspy program originated in New York and featured Don McLaughlin and Mandel Kramer with music by Rosa Rio. Counterspy is a Phillips H. Lord production for Pepsi-Cola. Enjoy some Pepsi ice cold tonight.
Crime does not pay.
How much you get for the coat, kid?
Half a C.
Not bad at all.
Not so bad it stinks.
Eddie.
Save it, Jackie. You know it as well as I do. We take a chance on jail, snatch the coat, the price tag says $250, so the Fagin gives us half a C. 50 lousy bucks. That's a sucker's racket.
It's beer and pretzels, ain't it?
I hate beer, and pretzels only make me thirsty.
So beautiful. Maybe you got an idea?
Have I got an idea? Gather round, boys. Have I got an idea?
In the interests of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear Clothes Make the Woman, starring Jean Muir. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Jean Muir as Betty Page in Clothes Make the Woman. Every year, hundreds of thousands of dollars are lost by department stores, large and small. Lost through the activities of shoplifters. Every store maintains its protective force, its detectives, but still the losses mount. In the end, the thieves are caught. But the stolen goods have passed through the hands of the fences into the possession of perfectly decent citizens who are susceptible to bargains. Betty Page and her boyfriend Jackie Benson worked in this racket. One of their operations was like this.
I'd like to see something a little more expensive, miss.
Yes, miss. My wife and I don't buy a new winter coat every year, and when we do, maybe you've got something with fur on it.
If you'll step this way, please. Thank you. Now, this is our most expensive line of fur trim cloth coats. Oh, they're lovely. Which one should I try on, Jack, dear?
Well, I like that blue one with the big fluffy collar.
That's a fox collar. Oh, may I put it on, miss? Oh, certainly, madam. Do you like the color, Jack, dear?
Looks a little dull. So blue, it's almost black.
Well, it won't look like this in daylight, will it, miss? No, it'll be a little lighter.
Well, could we see it in daylight, miss? I noticed some windows out near the elevators.
I'm afraid I couldn't leave this part of the floor that long, sir.
Oh, you wouldn't have to come along. My wife and I will be right back. Come along, dear.
Mr. Stack, they seem like such nice people.
They all seem like nice people, Carter. They fool even me sometimes.
Really, Mary, how could you have let it go so long before you called me?
But it is a long walk to the windows for the elevator. We were so busy I didn't dare leave the floor, Mr. Martin. Oh, no. $250. I don't know how I'll ever pay it back.
Now, easy, young lady. The store is insured, you know. Now, tell me once more exactly what happened.
Like I said, Mr. Stack, they seemed like such a nice couple.
You hear the names?
Just Betty and Jack.
Go on.
Well, she liked the coat. He wanted to see it in daylight. I let them go to the elevators with it. There are windows there. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Martin. She left her own coat on a chair.
A coat worth $12.50 at the most. After they asked to see the more expensive models. You're altogether too trusting, Mary.
Not anymore, I'm not.
Give you 50.
What, on a $250 coat?
After we risked our necks to get it?
I left my own coat there. My coat cost me $100.
You get 50.
Oh, now look here, Louis.
Now I know why they call you Fagin. Some fence you are.
Save it. I gotta get some profit.
You didn't do any work.
I'm taking risks, ain't I? For risk, a businessman is entitled to a profit.
What risk do you take?
What will I get out of it? A cloth coat with a piece of fox, $100. So I give you 50, so we come out even.
Yeah, and we do the work.
Enough talk. 50. Take it or leave it.
Jack?
What's the use? Take it, Betty. Better than nothing. Joey, hiya, fella.
Cold. I could use a drink.
Hey, Betty, it's a dip.
Hi, Joey.
Beautiful, a man wants a drink.
I heard him. I'm reading the paper.
Okay, honey. Betty's sore, Joey. Fagin chiseled us as usual.
Louis? That thief?
Yeah. Well, he pays as much as anybody.
I suppose.
This stuff ain't as good as it would have been if we'd have got more for the coat.
Not too bad. How much you get for the coat, kid?
Half a C.
Not bad at all.
Oh, it's so bad it stinks.
So beautiful. Maybe you got an idea?
Have I got an idea? Gather round, boys. Have I got an idea? Right here in the paper.
The newspaper?
Uh-huh. You're in on this, too. We'll need an extra hand.
What's my cut?
3 ways equal.
Out of what we get from Louis?
This idea'll work so slick there'll be plenty for everybody, even at Louis' rate of pay.
Hey, it sounds interesting. Go ahead, kid.
Just let me read you this. See the picture?
What, that society dame? What's she got that you ain't, baby?
That sable coat. 10 grand if it's $1.
So, kid, so?
Listen. Mrs. Louise Williams, shown above at a recent charity function in smart Rosedale Manor, is one of the sponsors of a milk fund luncheon to be given at the home of Mrs. Joseph Barton 2 weeks from today. Also present at the forthcoming benefit affair will be Mrs. Barlow Sampson, Miss Josephine Cowan, Mrs.
Good after... Oh. The service entrance is around at the back.
Sorry, there's no time for that. Mrs. Barton called us at the last minute and told us the luncheon guests will be arriving in just about 45 minutes.
Very well, come in. Where do you wish to set up?
Anywhere convenient off this foyer. Joe, give me a hand with the coat racks. And,
I'm Jameson.
Yes, well, Jameson, where can the lady go to freshen up?
There's a lavatory down the hall. Third door on the right.
Thank you, Jameson.
These are the baits for the coat rack, Jack. Pass to the load.
Okay. Pull around the back and get comfortable in the car a little later.
Right, till later.
Shall I send someone to lend a hand with the racks?
Well, you could hold this hand. No, I guess you couldn't.
Is there anything you will need before the guests arrive?
Well, there's nothing I'll need. Except for you to go ahead and tend to your butling, if that's the word.
How do I look, darling?
You in black satin. Yeah, it's neat. How'd you pour yourself into that? And why? There's no men around this operation except me, Joey, and that Jameson.
Oh, that's why, dear. Some of these society ladies show everything they've got, and I intend to keep your mind on me and the job. Are the racks ready?
All in place. Hey, look at the frail coming down the stairs.
That's Mrs. Barton, you dope. Now you know why I'm wearing what I'm wearing.
May I ask, please, what you're doing here?
I'm terribly sorry, Mrs. Barton. You are Mrs. Barton, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Explain yourself, please, young lady.
Well, your butler, Jameson, called us. The Acme Portable Hat and Coat Checking Service. This is our specialty service in private homes. And half of our tips go to the fund which the functions we service are given for.
That's a nice idea. Strange Jameson didn't tell me he'd called you.
Well, he called just half an hour ago. In the rush of preparation, he must have forgotten.
Perhaps. I've been dressing during the last half hour. Oh, excuse me, the door.
I'll answer it, madam.
Never mind, Jameson. I want you to check the service pantry.
Thank you, madam.
Oh, what a life he leads. Yes, madam. No, madam. I'll do it, madam.
Quiet, you fool.
Louise, darling.
Molly, dear.
I'm so glad you came early.
Well, I thought I might have something to do.
Not a thing, darling, not a thing. Just have a cocktail and keep me company.
Well, that would be a pleasure.
Check your coat, dear. Tips go to the milk fund.
Of course. It's a wonderful idea. I do so hate to have all the bedrooms mussed with coats and things.
It was Jameson's idea.
One of these days, I'm going to steal that man right from under your roof.
You try, darling. Just you try. Oh, no, wait. Just a moment. Let me see that coat on you.
Oh, haven't you seen it before?
Only in that picture in the Tribune. Oh, it's luscious. Leopold, of course.
Oh, thank you, dear. Yes, of course it's Leopold. Could anyone else match skins like these? Here's my coat, young lady.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll take care of it for you.
May I compliment you, young lady, on the way you pleased Mrs. Barton's guest?
Thanks, Jameson. Now you've said your piece. Run along.
Well, really. After all, one could be polite.
What's with him? Is he on a make or something?
Could be. I understand black satin has an effect on some men.
Oh, it has on me, baby. Nothing any of the dames in there was wearing could make them look like you.
Save it, darling. We got work to do.
You hear you?
Sure. Joey heard me. He's coming.
Okay, kids. I'm out here waiting, all set.
Here they come, Joey. Wait till Louis sees this haul. Mink, Persian lamb, broadtail, sable, and all real.
Here, Joey. Here's the first load. There's about 30 coats here.
No, Jackie, not all of them.
You want to leave some?
Got him. Next pile.
Hold it, Joey. Betty's going nuts.
Not me, I'm smart. The 3 coats you just put through that window are worth about $15,000. Okay, we take 6 more, including Louise Williams. We'll have over $50,000 in the haul, but we leave the rest. So nobody will suspect anything until the women whose coats we took come looking for them. By that time, we'll be miles away. Get it, Jackie?
Got it, beautiful.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with Clothes Make the Woman. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Jean Muir as Betty Page in Clothes Make the Woman. Stolen goods have little value unless there is a market for them. It's up to the fence, the receiver of the goods, to find that market. In the case of Betty Page and her friends, Louis Fagin Keller had to find the market. He waited a sufficient length of time and then approached his first possible customer.
Who is it?
You decent, Patty?
Who is it?
Louis Keller, remember?
Not my favorite bargain hunter.
And finder. Do I get into the dressing room with the best torch singer in town?
At least in your opinion. Come on in, Louis. Get yourself comfortable. I gotta make a change.
Yeah. Hey, you're looking wonderful, Patty.
Louis, when I come out from behind this screen, you're going to need another word.
That's all.
Go where me, Louis. No top, no back, practically no front.
And cost an arm and a leg.
But not mine.
I'll bet on that. Patty, in a market for real bargain?
What is it this time, Louis? Ice?
No. Sables.
Yipe. You got it on you?
I'm not crazy yet. You don't carry 10 G's worth of sables around like they were silver foxes.
Are they hot?
You know me better than that, Patty.
Do I? Say, how I look?
Good enough to eat, and then some. Sables go good with gold lame.
Not hot sables.
I don't peddle hot stuff, Patty. You know that.
Well, how then?
Well, some people went broke. I bailed them out of hot. Wife gave me the coat for cash.
Oh, I believe you. How much?
5 G's?
Too much.
What's your offer?
2.5.
Not a nickel less than 3.5. I gave 2 for it myself.
3.5. It's a deal. When?
Tonight, when you finish your last number. That, Patty, is Keller's service.
Lieutenant, we've waited so long. You don't seem to understand.
We understand, Mrs. Barton. You called us here when the theft was discovered. We questioned your butler and the other servants. Your butler says the coat check people told him you called them. You say they told you he called them. Total, 0.
When we have nothing to work with, Mrs. Barton, there's practically nothing we can do.
Except wait.
Wait, Lieutenant. How long? For what?
No one knows how long. For a break.
A break? But surely the insurance company...
They have their own people. They've seen us. They think it's your butler.
Jameson? Impossible. He worked for my father, now for me. He's known me since I was born.
People get funny ideas sometimes when they need money.
Jameson wants for nothing. He never will.
Nothing you know of, Mrs. Barton.
Now, let it be, Stone. The butler's all right, so are the other servants. In fact, they're so all right and so used to everything being normal, they were perfect setups for the crowd that pulled this job.
Surely, Lieutenant, there must be something you can do. I won't be able to hold up my head. In my house, to have such a thing happen.
When the break comes, Mrs. Barton, we'll be ready.
But what kind of a break, Lieutenant?
Mrs. Barton, 85% of the population of our prisons talk themselves in. We'll get our break with patience.
should have seen her drool when she saw that coat, Patty.
I drooled myself. I wish I could have kept it. Patty Laurel, without a brain in her head, gets to wear that coat.
What do we care? She's got the coat, we got the dough.
I knew you kids had come through with a big idea. Once, anyway.
Once? What do you mean by that?
Well, you can't pull a stunt like that again.
Oh, can't we?
Now, look, Betty, let's not take chances. We pulled down $15,000 on that deal and no income taxes.
Shut up and listen.
Okay. Aren't you riding high, kid?
Never mind that, Fagin. Get this. There hasn't been a word in the papers about the Barton job. Not one word. How they hate to be taking that kind of people. But okay, that means nobody's talking. So for the next job, we pick a spot a few miles from Rosedale, and nobody will be wise.
Smart as a whip.
But not too soon. There's no sense taking chances when we don't have to.
What scared you, darling?
Dick Davis.
Who's he?
You remember, don't you, the party Joey threw to celebrate our haul?
What, that little one with a squint?
That's him.
Best second story man I ever did business with.
Yeah, well, he's in a tank.
What?
Yesterday. Went back to a neighborhood too soon. Picked him up, caught him on a job.
Oh, so he pulled a boner.
And he had a piece on him. Armed robbery, 20 years.
Poor Jake.
His own fault for getting caught. They won't take me that way. See what I've got, boys.
Betty, where'd you get that piece?
It's a souvenir, a war souvenir, .25 caliber, a lady's gun. Fellow I bought it from says it packs a terrific punch.
That's no good, kid. You lose it someplace.
If we do another job, don't carry it.
Not carry it? Now, boys, you know everything's going on these days. A girl wouldn't think of wearing her minks unless she had some protection.
Look, Davis, we're not playing dominoes. You got a choice. 20 years to life for armed robbery, or we'll pin the 4th Street killing on you.
You can't do that. You can't, Lieutenant. You wouldn't fight an innocent man.
Oh, wouldn't I?
But I don't know nothing. I always worked alone. You know that. Please, Lieutenant, give me a break, will you?
You had to have someone sell your halls for you. Who was it?
I sold it myself. Peddling. Honest.
Stone, is the conference room free? The one downstairs?
If it isn't, it will be. Say, did you know, Lieutenant, they just did a new soundproofing job down there. Yeah, man could yell his lungs out and nobody'd ever hear him.
Wait a minute.
That's so. How nice. What do you say we test the soundproofing with little Richard here?
No, you can't. It's against the law.
Listen to who's talking now, Stone.
Against the law, huh? Well.
Could I make a deal?
What kind?
Or maybe you drop the arm part of the charge.
What for?
Will you?
Let's see the size of your merchandise.
It's the gang that pulled the Rosedale Manor job.
The Rosedale job?
You in on that?
No, not me. But I went to a party. They were celebrating, see? Jackie Benson, Betty Page, Joey the Dip Waters, even Louis Fagan Keller, the fence. You see, that is Joey, he had a few too many, see? I got the whole layout. Is it a deal, Lieutenant? Is it?
Hattie, I want to see your new coat.
On or off, Lieutenant?
Save it for the suckers out front, Patty. Where's the coat?
In the closet. And I paid good, honest money for that coat.
Yeah, sure. The money was honest, but how about the man who sold it to you? How about Louis Keller? This it?
Yeah, that's it. What do you do? Hey, stop it! You're ruining the comb. You got no right
Shut
to
up,
do
Patty.
it. But
This is stolen goods, and you know it. See. Yeah. Here's the furrier's code mark.
the what?
Furrier's code on the skins under the lining. Good as fingerprints. You don't mind if I borrow your sables for a few days, do you, Patty? I'll give you a receipt. Well, Mr. Leopold?
But, of course it is my coat. I know it even without the markings.
Whose is it?
Mrs. Williams, Louise Williams. For her I made it. Special. I matched the skins like no other coat in the world.
You keep a record that'll stand up in court?
But, of course, always. You know that, Lieutenant.
Yes, Mrs. Barton, we got our break. We found Mrs. Williams' coat.
Oh, Louise will be delighted. No more than I am, Lieutenant.
I'm sure you are. Now then, Mrs. Barton, we'll get all the coats back if you'll cooperate with us.
What can I do?
You have a lot of friends, Mrs. Barton. Do you think one of them would go so far as to arrange a benefit affair like yours? Say, someone who lives about 10 miles away from you, Mrs. Barton?
Not bad. Definitely not bad. How much do you suppose this one's worth, Betty?
Not much, about 3 G's. They're better ones. Where's Joey? You whistled for him 5 minutes ago.
It's a different layout here. What's eating you?
I don't know. I just don't like the feeling around here.
For the love of Mike, the girl's getting sensitive.
Sensitive? Didn't you notice who's here? Where's Joey?
Be along in a minute. Who's here?
Mrs. Barton and the Williams dame.
Oh, so that's why you ducked behind the racks and let me check him.
They'd remember a woman.
All right, it's all right. They didn't see it. There's Joey. Start picking, kid. Here they come. Okay, Betty.
Here's 3 for a while. I'll get some more.
Right. Now, watch it, Joe. Hey, Betty, that's not Joe at the car.
No, it's not, Benson.
Cop.
None of that. There's no exit for you, Benson.
I told her we couldn't pull the same stunt twice.
Where's the dame?
Betty.
The dame's crammed, Lieutenant.
What?
She came out from behind the coat racks with a gun. Got out the door before we could grab her.
Now, we'll get her. You take care of this monkey while I get out the alarm.
Westbound flight 301 for St. Louis, Albuquerque, and Los Angeles. Now loading at gate 3.
Hey, you had a good hunch, Stone. Restroom covered?
Inside and out, Lieutenant.
Check. Let's go. Pardon me, miss. You're Betty Page, aren't you?
Sorry. I'm afraid you made a mistake. I'm not...
Yes, you are. The young man over there says so. His name is Jack Benson.
Jack Benson? A full of filthy rotten.
Oh, no, you can't blame a man for finding his way out of a long-term rap.
I can blame a man for anything.
Got a gun, Lieutenant. Drop it.
Dirty, rotten, Joey!
Ladies, don't play with guns. Not around me, anyway.
You didn't have to break my wrist. You didn't have to.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. You'll have plenty of time to heal where you're going.
Crime does not pay. Jean Muir, who was starred as Betty Page in Clothes Make the Woman, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Jean Muir.
To me, the most interesting side of the character of Betty Page is her background, a part of her which, unfortunately, there's no time to dwell on at length. Invariably, though, girls like Betty Page reached and passed a point in their lives where they were denied the nice things they saw other girls have, through no fault of their own, and denied, too, the means to get those things honestly. With a good education, a job with a future, Betty would have become a useful citizen. Her mind, and she had a good one, would then have worked for, not against, society. It follows, then, that the fundamental causes of Betty's career in crime lie at the door of society as a whole. It is up to us, the everyday citizens, to understand those causes and to destroy them, because for us, as well as for the Betty Pages of this world, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Jean Muir. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
And now, Gangbusters! Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
or in love and law until he lost his liberty.
Gangbusters has asked Captain of Detectives Henry J. Chris, Commanding Detective Bureau, Baltimore Police Department, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Captain Chris, you said the leading criminal in tonight's case was one of the most surly and vicious hold-up men to put in an appearance in the Baltimore-Washington area in some years.
That's right, Don Gardner. And besides maltreating his victims, he was just as rough with his accomplices. And that's what finally brought this case to a head.
Well, suppose you tell us about it, Captain Chris.
All right, Don. I think it would begin shortly before noon about a year ago. Two men were riding in a car which was pulling to a stop in front of a house in East Baltimore.
Okay. Listen, Mac. Tell me about it later. Dump the car.
But, Mac, we're going to
Get rid of the car. We'll talk about it. Dump. What I got to put up with? Kitty! Kitty!
All right, I'm here.
Oh, come in here, will you?
Putting up my hair. Did you have any trouble, Mac?
Not with the job. Stuck a gun on him and took the dough. That jerk Lewis almost queered everything. There.
That it?
Yeah.
How much?
Haven't had time to count it yet. About 3,000, I guess.
Then I can have that new coat, huh, Mac?
You can have nothing.
Oh, honey, you promised me. You said as
Get
soon
your
as...
hands off me.
I knew it. I knew you were lying to me.
Okay, so you know it.
Mac, if you don't give her up, I swear I'm going to fix her so you'll never take another look at her.
Fix who?
I know her. I know who she is.
There's no her. Leave me alone about it.
Oh, you lie about that, too. Lewis said the two of you were the...
Forget about what Lewis said. You don't know the right time of day. I went in and heisted the joint. All he had to do was sit around and the wheel. He couldn't even do that right. But don't listen to him.
She's a blonde, isn't she? You were always a sucker for blonde.
No blonde, and forget about
Lewis
it. Look,
said...
cut it out, will you?
You're playing around with some washed-out blonde. You expect me to keep my mouth shut?
Yes.
Well, nobody's going to beat my time.
What's tying you down? Pack up and get out.
Listen,
Go on,
Mac.
pack up. Who's stopping you?
You make a good score next time? I can have the coat, huh?
Maybe.
Okay. That's a promise.
I said maybe. Now finish that hair. You look like a slob.
Who's that?
Take it easy. It's Lewis. Okay. Yeah?
Me.
Get in here.
Come on, let's count the score.
I thought I told you to dump the car.
What do you think I did?
Where? Around the corner?
It was in the next block.
How much better is the next block? Cops will be swarming around that car in an hour.
Well, I figure like this. They'll dope it out we wouldn't drop the car close to home. So they start looking on the other side of town. See?
Always got an angle, haven't you? Go on, get in there.
You said it. Want my end of the score. Oh, hi, Kitty.
Hi.
What were you telling her about some blonde?
The blonde? Oh, well,
It was business, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's what it was, business. Didn't I say it was business, Kitty? This little dish works in the joint Mac and me figure on taking soon.
Okay. Get going, Kitty. Get that hair fixed. You look like something out of a wrestling match.
Business, huh?
Get busy, will you?
Just wondering what kind of business. Blonde.
Why did you have to open up your yap about that blonde?
Yeah, we were talking, and I just mentioned you.
Who asked you to mention anything?
No harm was intended, Mac. Is that the score?
Yeah.
Well, come on, cut it up.
Sure, I'll cut it up. 20, 40, 60, 81. 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 92. 200. Take it. It's yours.
What about the rest?
You get the 200.
Oh, no, Mac, there's $3,000 there at least.
Listen, I ought to throw you out the door. It would have been better off flagging a cap.
But the deal was...
That deal was nothing. I did all the work, and you came there getting me nabbed. Now, take the 200 and be happy with it.
Oh, Mac, this ain't right. You know it ain't right.
Isn't it? I should have started this after the last Washington job. I can get car pushers a dime a dozen, so consider yourself well paid.
But, Mac, I did my job.
You want the 2 bills or don't you?
Now, listen.
Do you want it?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a deal you contribute something to, we split.
As long as you're driving a hack, you get paid like a hack driver.
This ain't no way to treat me,
Isn't
Mac.
it?
I'm entitled.
I'll tell you what you're entitled to. Go on. Get your carcass out of here before I really let go.
Yeah, okay. I'll be seeing you, Mac.
Hello, Lieutenant Kelly.
Sergeant Marlowe, Lieutenant. I think maybe I got an identification on that stick-up artist.
Yeah?
Yeah. The guy they want pretty bad down in Washington for payroll robberies at a couple of printing plants. I showed his picture to the victims here. They're pretty sure it's the guy, Mac Wilson Fierce.
Mac Wilson Fierce. We've handled him here in Baltimore, haven't we?
Yeah, we had him on a stick-up a couple of years ago, Lieutenant. He's got a record as long as your arm.
Well, come on in here, Sergeant. We'll see if we can figure out a way to locate him. If he's still in Baltimore.
Ain't no use crying to me, Louis. I told you what Mac was like. Told you all along. I come in here to have a drink, not to hear your grief.
But 200, Sig. A lousy 200. And the score came to nearly $4,000, believe me.
Well, my advice, Louis, figure your 200 to good. Break off with the guy and make some new connections.
I got a lot of dough coming to me, and Mac or no Mac, I'm going to get it.
You talk like a kid in third grade.
Somewhere in that house of his, he's got 10, 15,000. I know. I was on those jobs. And he ain't spent a nickel of it, believe me.
Yeah, I believe you. So what? What do you want me to do, shed a few tears for you?
Listen, how'd you like to split it with me, Sig? 50-50.
Split what?
All that sugar Mac has laying around.
Look, maybe you ought to get home. This stuff is going to your head.
We wouldn't have a bit of trouble, Sig.
You bet your life we wouldn't. Because I ain't going out looking for it.
You mean to say you're not interested in nearly $8,000?
I'm interested, but let's get it the easy way. Let's go heist a bank with God.
We couldn't have it any easier. Not the way I got it doped.
Listen, I don't want to hear about it.
$8,000, Sig. And we rid society of a menace.
You mean?
How else?
I don't know. Is it possible?
You don't think I'd try it if it wasn't? Look, Mac's heard about your job. He's heard you're a guard at that crap game down there.
Yeah?
Well, if I know him, he'd jump at an inside track to knock it over. I'll tell him you know the setup, and we're a cinch to walk away with 20 or 30,000.
Yeah, but one look inside the Lord ain't a cinch.
He won't even get a look. We drive down there, but we take a stop and away.
Listen, it'd take more than two of us, you know it.
He wouldn't give too much trouble. One crack out of a 45, and he'd be quiet enough.
You know, I love dough, but who needs a murder rat?
We drop him in the woods someplace down there. Who's going to know? We'll never even find him.
You see, you're running away with yourself. He's dead. How are we going to get the dough?
Don't worry, it's around the house someplace.
Yeah, but what about that dame? That, what's her name?
Kitty? I can handle her. All we gotta do is get Mac out of the way.
You talk like that's no project.
The way we do it, it won't be. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. I want another drink. Hey, waiter. Waiter, here you are.
Hello, Lieutenant.
Oh, I was just about to put a call into your house, Sergeant.
I know the desk man said you wanted to see me. What's doing?
Mac Wilson Fierce.
Oh.
The forgery squad. They got a check artist back there, and of course, questioning comes out he's a friend of Fierce.
Yeah? Does he know where we can locate him?
Well, he's not that good a friend, but he's sure Fierce is in Baltimore. Saw him a couple of weeks ago. They had a drink together. Then Fierce dropped him off downtown.
You think our boy is staying in Baltimore?
That for sure. Maybe something better. The car they rode in, Fierce told the check artist was his, that he had just bought it.
Here in Baltimore?
Presumably. It was a 1946 Oldsmobile, four-door, painted gray. Let's get a couple of men to take Fierce's picture around the used car dealers.
He probably made the buy under an alias.
Yeah, but maybe he still owes money on the car. And he had to apply for plates. There's an address involved someplace that might be just the address we're looking for.
It's as easy as that, Mac. Sig says there ought to be 20 or 30 grand just waiting to be picked up.
Who wanted beer?
Me.
Mac?
Just set it down. Sig says there's only one guard on Sunday nights, huh?
You can ask him yourself.
I mean to.
I hear somebody mention $30,000.
You didn't hear anybody mention a thing. If you want to stay in here, keep your mouth shut.
Well, here's all that dough we cut up. I didn't know that crap game was that large. Yeah, Sig says the play is enormous.
We'll see.
You ask me, even one guard is too many.
Nobody asked you.
Well, how about it, Mac?
I want to talk to Sig.
Sure, talk to him. But, look, Mac, one thing's got to be understood.
I want to talk to Sig. Run out and locate him.
Now?
When do you think? Next week? Go on. Bring him back here.
At least let me finish the
I'll
beer.
put it in the icebox.
Get moving, Louis.
Don't see why I can't wait till the night.
Just get him here.
Okay, I'll get him here.
Well, guess this one will do it.
Do what?
Get me that coat.
You get a coat when I'm ready to give it to you.
But that blonde can have anything she wants.
There's no blonde. If there was, it wouldn't be any of your concern.
Wouldn't it?
No, now go on. Get out of here. Gotta think about this thing.
So all you do is think.
Wait a minute.
What?
Take these beer glasses with you.
Oh. Gee, for me to wash glasses when I need them.
I'll see you later. Go on.
So, Don, as Baltimore detectives were trying to get on the trail of the bandit Mac Wilson Fierce, one of his disgruntled associates planned his murder. But as you will see, trails can be hard to follow, and plans are only plans. Now back to Gangbusters.
Now, you were telling us, Captain Chris, that Hunter Lewis, an accomplice of the hold-up man, Mac Wilson Fierce, was dissatisfied with what Fierce gave him as his share, and with another man, planned to entice the leader into the woods of southern Maryland and murder him.
That's right, Don. But in the meantime, Baltimore detectives learned that Fierce participated in a local holdup, and they were attempting to locate him. Following one line of their investigation, Lieutenant Leo Kelly hurried to the lot of a used car dealer, Happy Harry, in response to a call from Sergeant Joseph Maurer, who was waiting as the lieutenant's car pulled to a stop.
Lieutenant, how's it look, Sergeant?
Well, Happy Harry took one look at the picture and said he sold the guy a car.
Fierce didn't use his right name?
No, it's not on the books. But we've been checking back sales 5 or 6 weeks since I phoned you, and I think we found the Oldsmobile.
Oh?
It was bought on the name of H. McDuff. Gives an address over on East Baltimore Street. I'll introduce you to Happy Harry.
The car bought on time with the cash?
Cash. Lieutenant Kelly, Happy Harry.
How are you? Wow. I'm pleased to meet you, Lieutenant. You know something, Sergeant? Association. I'm sure of it because of association.
You're sure of what?
Well, I'm sure the guy that bought the Olds is the same one in the picture. Association. Now, you take the guy in the picture. I knew he had gray eyes before you told me even. A gray Olds. I remember like it was yesterday.
Well, let's hope the association works out. Can I see the papers?
Oh, yes, sir. I always keep my papers in order. Books and papers. Happy Harry always keeps them in order, yes, sir. Here you are. What's the matter?
Nothing at all. What do you say, Sergeant? Let's check the address.
Right. Thanks a lot, Harry.
Don't mention it. If you ever need a good car, don't forget Happy Harry.
We won't.
Well, Sergeant, looks pretty good. We'll check the State Department of Motor Vehicles and the tag number.
What about East Baltimore Street? Sounds like a rooming house.
Tell you what. We'll keep our eyes on it a couple of days. If that gray old shows up around there, then we know we've got something. If it doesn't, we'll knock on the door and ask some questions on the inside. Come on.
Hello?
Sig?
Yeah?
Lewis, it's all set for tonight.
Listen, you think we ought to go ahead?
Sure, we oughta. Now get this. We'll meet at Mac's. If he don't see us together, he won't suspect anything. Now, here's the deal. Mac will be driving. I'll manage to get in the back seat and you in front with him. I can't hang on the phone all day. We're out in the country, see? There's a place he has to slow down. The road ain't so hot. I'll say, how about turning up the heater a little? It's freezing back here.
So?
That means it won't be but a couple of seconds before I give it to him. Okay?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. I'll see you at Max. So long.
Lieutenant Kelly.
Hello, Lieutenant. Sergeant Maurer. We went inside that East Baltimore Street address.
Yes?
McDuff was Mac Fierst, all right. The landlady made him from the picture. But he moved about 3 or 4 weeks ago. No forwarding address.
Okay, I didn't expect any miracles out of it, but he still must be driving that car around town. Let's keep a special lookout for it.
Listen, how far is this place? You said a mile from the crossroads.
It's just down the road, Mac. Ain't that right, Louis?
Yeah, just down the road.
But watch it here. The road's kind of rough.
Yeah, okay. Now listen, the two of you.
What?
Yeah, Mac?
We'll take it just like I figured we'd take it. Going in, coming out, and getting away. Have you got that straight?
Sure, we've been all over that 10 times. Hey, it ain't exactly summer tonight, you know. It's freezing back here. How about turning that heater up a little?
You can stand it. We're nearly there.
Yeah, Louis. Early.
Maybe, but this is as far as you're going, Mac.
Hey.
Stop the car.
Get that gun out of my head, you cheap little punk.
Stay there. I think that finished him. Now,
Think again. I'm getting you.
Hey, wait a minute.
Shoot me, will you?
Take. Head back here. I can move. Let go of me, Mac. Let go.
Punk. Oh, easy, punk. Shoot me in the back. You'll get away with something, huh? What do you think you'll get away with? What? What? Okay. Get out of here. Sig. Sig.
Mac?
Come here. Hurry.
But, Mac...
Come here.
Okay.
Hurry, will you?
What happened, Mac? What happened?
What's it look like happened?
You don't point the gun at me, Mac. I didn't have nothing to do with it.
Tell me, Sig. Who are you with now?
I'm with you, Mac. I was always with you.
Yeah. We'll see. I need help. And we'll shut up and shut something off.
Yeah. Well, what do you want me to do, Mac? What?
Get him out of there. Drag him into the woods.
Yeah, sure. Okay, Mac.
Wait a minute.
What?
Maybe I'll pass out while you're gone. If I do, you take me home. Straight home, you got it?
Yeah, straight home, Mac.
Okay. Now get rid of him.
All right, okay. I'll be there. Yeah?
Open up, Kitty.
Who is it?
Sig and Mac.
All right.
He's hurt.
Hurt? What do you...
Hello, Kitty.
Let me get him in.
Yeah, get me in.
What happened?
He and Louis.
Had an argument.
In the bedroom. Go on.
Come on.
Give me a hand, Kitty, will you, please?
Yes, sure.
Oh, boy, it hurts. It's bad.
Take it easy, Mac.
Get the door, Kitty.
On the bed.
Don't pull me, will you?
Okay, easy now.
On the bed, Mac.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta get going.
Sig.
Yeah, Mac?
Were you with me or him?
I was with you, Mac.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I was, honest. Well, I'll be going.
Wait a minute.
Yeah?
Stick the car in the garage, will you?
But...
Stick the car in the garage, will you?
Okay.
Don't ever show your puss around here again. Now get moving.
Yeah. I'll be seeing you.
Yeah. Hiya, Kitty.
Hi.
How bad does it look?
You need a doctor, Mac.
I want no doctor.
There's a bullet in your neck.
I can feel it. I can feel them all.
Oh, Mac.
I'll live, Kitty. I'll be okay. If you'll take care of me. Will you?
I'll try.
Baby, you do a good job. You get that coat. Coat like you never dreamed of.
I'll do what I can, Mac. Everything I can.
Sergeant Marlowe.
Yeah, Lieutenant.
One of the boys out in Southeastern just called in. He thought he spotted that Oldsmobile of Fierce.
No kidding.
Yep. Was coming at him down a busy street. By the time he turned his car around, it was gone.
Was he sure? It's been 6 weeks since we heard a peep out of Fierce.
Well, he was sure of the license number. Come on. Go down in that district and have a look for ourselves.
Kitty. Kitty, over here in the booth.
Mac, I found the coat. It's gorgeous.
Sit down.
Sure.
How about a drink?
Well, I gotta run put a deposit on the coat. Really, it's what I always wanted.
Yeah? How much?
The coat?
What do you think I'm talking about?
Not much. $450.
$450?
Well, you know how things are these days.
Forget about it.
Mac, you
I
promised.
didn't promise any $500.
Don't you think I earned it? I took care of you for 6 weeks. Doctor couldn't have done a better job. Saved you from dying.
Thanks.
Now I know how Lewis felt.
Shut up about Lewis.
I feel like killing you myself.
Wouldn't that be a little crazy? You just spent 6 weeks saving my life.
Well,
where are you going?
Where do you think? Home.
Stick around. I'll drive you.
No, thank you. I'll walk.
Well, Sergeant, doesn't look like we'll have any luck today.
At least we got an idea he's still in town.
Let's just check up to Lakewood and back. We'll call it.
Lieutenant.
Yeah?
Up there. Parked at the curb.
That's the car, all right. There's a parking space past it. Pull in.
Yeah. This ought to be a good spot.
Now, let's sit here and wait for him. We've been waiting here 3 hours, Sergeant.
Yeah. I'm just hoping you didn't suddenly get an idea to abandon the car.
And keep your eye on it.
I don't know where else I could keep it, Lieutenant.
Who's that coming out of the bar?
Well, it looks like that guy's really banged up. But he's got the same build as Fierce.
Yeah?
What's the matter with his face?
Got me. He's headed for the car.
Yeah.
There he goes. Right for it.
That's him.
Come on, Sergeant.
Right with you.
Keep him covered. He's a gunman.
I'll get the door.
All right, Fifth, the police officers, come out of there.
Hey.
He said come out.
Look, you guys are making a mistake.
What's happened to your face? Who shot you up?
This is ridiculous. My name is McDuff. I have identification to prove it. Look,
Stay out of that pocket.
I got him.
Go on me.
Yeah, plenty of identification. 45.
Okay, Fierce, get moving. Our car's right down there.
Now,
He
listen.
said get moving. Now go on.
So, Don, Mac Wilson Fierst, one of the worst desperados in Baltimore history, was under arrest. Within a short time after he got to detectives' headquarters, the whole bizarre story of the killing of his accomplice, Hunter C. Lewis, was known to authorities. Fierst was placed on trial, and within a little more than a month, he began to serve a 20-year sentence in the Maryland Penitentiary.
Well, thank you, Captain of Detectives Henry J. Chris, for this revealing case history. And Gangbusters, congratulations to all the Baltimore detectives whose fine work landed this dangerous criminal. Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by William Sweets, with Frank Reddick and Elspeth Eric in leading roles. Don Gardner speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord.
Hey, we hail. York City, where the American stage begins, here is another program with a cast of outstanding players. Public service time has been made available by this station for your Army and your Air Force to bring you this story, as proudly we hail the paratroopers of the United States Army.
Okay, men, let's get ready. With just a few minutes in the drop zone, you've had your orders. You know what to do. Remember this, you're paratroopers, so act like them, fight like them. Let's hit him and hit him hard. Here comes Lieutenant Garrison.
Okay, Sergeant Garrison. I'm going out first. I want the rest of you 17 guys to jump out in less than 17 seconds. You with me? Okay, let's go. All right. We're going to start the jump commands in a minute. Before we do, good luck, men. Happy landing.
Good luck. Everybody?
At this command, each paratrooper holds a snap fastener at the end of the heavy webbing which is attached to his parachute.
Head up. Look up. Take equipment. Down up for equipment check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Each man calls his number in the line as his turn comes. If the equipment is all right. If it isn't, someone will come to his assistance.
Hand at the door. That's a green light. Go! Let's go. Geronimo!
There they go, all 18 of them, making a jump behind the enemy lines as part of the parachute combat team in Operation Baden. In this play, we bring you the dramatic story of what happened on that jump, and particularly of what happened to Private Johnny Owens, one of the 18 men in the plane. But before our first act curtain rises, this message. Young man, why not let a thought for tomorrow be your thought for today? Right now, your United States Army, the senior service, needs qualified technicians in such varied and interesting fields as radio, radar, meteorology, photography, and many, many others. Yes, you can be trained to do a job and acquire a skill that will be of great benefit to you for the rest of your life. You can also take pride in the fact that you answered your country's call in time of great need. Why not let a thought for tomorrow be your thought for today? Visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station and enlist in the United States Army. And now your Army and your Air Force present the proudly we hail production, Operation Baden. Our story begins the day before the jump at a 7th Airborne Division Air Base in northern Italy. Johnny Owens and his buddy, Private Arkansas Clovey, are walking back to their quarters from the A Company mess hall.
I tell you, Johnny, we're going to see some action soon. I feel it in my Arkansas bones.
What's so psychic about your Arkansas bones?
They're just that much closer to the soil, that's what.
Oh,
No, when I seen him feeding us steak and fried potatoes for supper tonight, I knew we was in for something.
Some stuff, Arky. We've had steak before and nothing happened. Not a guy. They hand you a good meal, instead of enjoying it, you start griping. They'd be better off feeding you fatback and turnip greens.
Ooh, don't make me homesick. Now, how about chow call coming at 5 o'clock? It's an hour earlier than we generally have it. Don't they look funny to you?
Maybe you got something there. I've been wondering about that myself.
Well, here we are back at the tent. Maybe the other fellas heard something.
Hi, Joey. Oh, hi, Johnny. Oh, what are you and that Arkansas chowhound doing back so early? You run out of chow?
No. We just started earlier, that's all.
Arky here has a theory we're going into action because we had steak for supper. Arky, don't you know there's a man's outfit? The Army's finest? Yeah, that's why we feed us steak, because the man's chow.
No. I still feel something's in the air.
No, look. Maybe you Arkansas dirt farmers can feel rain in the air, but that doesn't give you a license to go feeling anything else. What do you think, Pop?
Well, all I can say is that I hope they give me a chance to finish this letter to my kids before they start cutting any new orders.
Say, maybe we'll know soon. Here comes Sergeant Gasky.
You all here? La Rosa?
Yeah.
Pop?
Yeah.
Joey?
Yeah.
Arky? Owens?
You?
Okay. Here's some orders for you. Hot off the griddle.
All right, listen to this, fellas. All parachutists will be dropped in enemy territory tomorrow morning. The whole pack will be worn. Taps will be at 2100 hours and reveille at 0230. For security reasons, final orders will be issued during flight.
Wow. Well, I reckon old Arky's bones knows what they're talking about, eh, boys?
Nuts, Arky. All your bones are in your head. Hey, Sarge, give us a lowdown. Where are we jumping? What's our mission going to be?
Yeah, how big's the jump going to be? Oh, now, look, take it easy, guys. You know I can't talk. The whole thing is top secret.
Oh, wow.
Well, all right. Look, but keep it to yourselves. But it's going to be a big operation. I think the whole division's going to be in a...
Yeah? The whole division's going into action? It must be something big. Well, we're going to be in a real scrap. What's our mission? Yeah, just where we're going in.
Well, the old man don't take me in on his plans, fellas. But security or no security, I don't know any more about it than you do.
Is the lieutenant jumping with us?
Sure thing. He'll tell us all about it on the plane tomorrow morning. So, you better hit the sack early. We've got a very busy day ahead of us.
All right, Sergeant.
So long, sir. So long.
Well, guess we better get our gear laid out tonight. Every second will count in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I'll just finish up my letter and then get to work.
Well, Arky, how your bones feel now? Just think, you might be the hero of Ketchup Corners, Arkansas in the next few days.
I'll take care of myself, Joey.
Hey, Johnny, this is the first jump for you outside the States, isn't it? And you too, Arky.
Yeah, it is, Pop. Our first jump outside of jump school.
Oh. It's a whole lot different from jump school, Johnny. There you had an instructor on the ground talking to you over a loudspeaker, directing you, helping you all the way down. Go out that door tomorrow, boys. You'll be on your own.
How many combat jumps have you made, Joey? Well, I made 2 in Korea, Johnny, before I got transferred over here. Both rough ones, too. But, old Pop there, he knows what it is to be a paratrooper. In World War II, Pop fought at Bastogne with the 101st Airborne. He jumped with the 101st in Normandy in Holland. He was transferred to the 11th Airborne after the war and made the 2 jumps with that outfit when he was in Korea. My Pop? Key rep.
That first combat jump's the toughest, though. But don't you worry. You'll do okay, Johnny. You do, Arky. Remember all that training in the jump school? Those practice jumps from the 34-foot tower?
Oh, how can I forget them? Over and over and over again.
And those hours on the 250-foot tower, hanging from the harness, learning how to control your chute.
Yes, we just couldn't wait to make our real jumps.
Yeah, well, let me tell you. What you learned back there in jump school is what's going to pull you through tomorrow. No matter what spot you find yourself in, you'll do the right thing, even without thinking. That's what training does for you.
Well, I'm all set now. I'll see you guys in the morning.
Yes, sir. Right. So long now.
So long.
Say, Arky.
Yeah, Johnny?
How do you feel?
I felt better.
Me too.
This is what we wanted, Johnny. To make the grade and the best fighting outfit in the world.
That's right. I remember when I was home on leave after basic training, and I told the folks I wanted to transfer to the paratroopers.
Yeah, what'd they say?
Well, Mom, she was worried at first, but I told her the better you train, the better your chances of not getting hurt.
Sure. Yeah, what'd the old man say?
Dad just listened, and he said, Mother, they'll teach him to take care of himself. And later on, when we were alone, Dad told me how he learned over in France in the First War that you have to fight, you ought to fight with the best outfit there is, Safer that way because the boys won't let you down.
Sure. And Johnny, remember when they pinned on our paratrooper wings after we finished our training?
Yeah, that was the proudest moment of my life. I'll never forget that last battalion parade. Check and double check, constant doing and redoing until the hardest task became routine, second nature. Yeah, all that was just leading up to tomorrow. Tomorrow is when we make that training pay off.
Here's Taps, son. Guess we better get some rest.
Yeah. Good night, Archie.
Good night, John.
Proudly we hail production Operation Baden will return in just a moment for the second act. But first, it shall not happen here. That is the unspoken prayer of every man in the United States Army. That is the unspoken reason for our growing military might. But the time has come to speak. The time has come to tell of that small phrase, those 5 words, it shall not happen here. Let us speak only to those young men of America who have not taken pause to think. Let's shout it in a voice that will reach into every city and village across the length and breadth of this great land. Young man, you are needed. You are needed to help preserve the peace. You are needed to serve in your United States Army, to ensure for your loved ones that it shall not happen here. You are urged to visit your local United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today and enlist in the United States Army. The need is urgent. Do it today. You are listening to Proudly We Hail, and now we present the second act of Operation Baden. It's morning. Early morning. The darkness cloaks the before dawn chill. Little films of mist dance through tent flaps as sleeping men dream of the big adventure ahead. Certainly not for long, because that man, the one stepping into the tent there, that's Sergeant Gaskey.
Okay, fellas, let's go. Get some breakfast and assemble at the plane in 25 minutes. All men are aboard, Lieutenant.
Okay, Sergeant. Let's go.
There's the lieutenant up front with an armful of maps, Archie. Looks like he's going to brief us now.
Oh, yeah. Can I have your attention, please? You men listening or just asleep?
Don't worry. Wake up, man.
This is the start of Operation Baden. Operation Baden. B-A-D-E-N. Baden is a lake in central Austria. Pass out the map, Sergeant.
Yes.
Now, Brennersbrook is the only good-sized port on the eastern half of the lake. And there, the enemy could move large forces westward by boat. They could land them to the rear of our troops, cutting our supply and communications line. Might even be able to trap large elements of our 8th Corps and endanger our whole position. At this point, the commander of the 8th Corps called for airborne support. Our entire regiment is making the drop today.
Wow.
Its mission is to destroy enemy troops, fortifications, and big guns in and around the town of Brennersbrook, and to destroy all port facilities.
What do we do then, Lieutenant?
We're launching a counteroffensive together with Italian and British allies. The Italian troops are attacking from the south. I believe they consist of the Italian Ariete Armored Brigade and the Napoli Infantry Division. 2 British armored brigades are attacking from the north.
What if the counterattack fails?
Well, then it'll be up to the Air Force to fly us out.
And what is our mission?
We have what I think is the most difficult and dangerous mission of the entire combat team. Our job is to destroy the port facilities. That means our drop zone is closest to the lake.
Lieutenant, if I got time to take some swimming lessons?
Joey, that's the danger. If the plane is slightly off course, or if the wind blows the wrong way, we may land in the lake. As soon as you make your jump and your eyes adjust, I want you men to get your bearings and be in position to keep away from the lake.
How high will we be jumping from, Lieutenant?
The jump will be from 800 feet. Now, I'm going forward to check the course with the pilot. Sergeant Gasky has detailed maps of our drop zone. He'll go over individual assignments with you. Are there any questions? Okay, take over, Sergeant.
Yes. All right, now, here are your maps. This is a detailed map of the town. Our drop area is a public park that runs parallel to the docks. It's about 100 yards back. Marked in green on those maps. You got it?
Yeah, here it is.
As soon as we land, we assemble at the big statue of the soldier on horseback in the center of the park.
Hey, Pop, careful you don't land on the sword.
Okay, come on. All right, come on, knock it off, huh? Now, our targets are marked on the map in red. They're numbered. At the assembly area, we'll break up into 2 sections of 9 men each. Lieutenant will take one, I'll take the other. Now, he'll start at the north, I'll start at the south. We'll both work toward the center. Any questions?
Yeah, what's the password?
There are 2 passwords, a signed and a countersign. The sign is Mason, the countersign is Dixon. Mason Dixon.
Mason Dixon.
All right, now remember, there'll be no firing when you land. We don't want to give ourselves away before we get organized, so no shooting. Understand?
Okay.
Now, each man has 25 pounds of demolition except for the 2 fuse men. Owens.
Yes, sir.
I want you to carry all the fuses for my section.
Pop. Yes, sir.
You carry the fuses for Lieutenant Garrison's section.
Okay.
And that does it. Nothing to do now but wait till the lieutenant comes back. Okay, men, let's get ready. We're just a few minutes in the drop zone. You've had your orders. You know what to do. Remember this, you're paratroopers, so act like them, fight like them. Let's hit him and hit him hard. Here comes Lieutenant Garrison.
Okay, Sergeant Gasky. I'm going out first. want the rest of you 17 guys out in less than 17 seconds. You with me? We're going to start the jump commands in a minute. Before we do, good luck. Happy landing.
Yeah. Get ready. Stand up. Look up. Take equipment. Down up for equipment check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And it up. That's the green light. Go! Let's go! Geronimo! 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 Geronimo!
The jerk of the harness. The chute's opening. Oh, look at that chute billowing on. Sweetest thing I ever saw. Well, so far so good. Now I'll look out for the rest of the guys. Where are they? Am I all alone up here? There they are. Holy cow. Look at how far away they are. I'm drifting away from them. Fast. Faster. Must be caught in an air current. Hey, remember what the lieutenant said about how close we were to the lake? Let's see. That wind is blowing west. It might be carrying me over the water. I gotta work my chute back the other way. That's no use. That wind is too strong. Where are they now? Can't even see them anymore. Hey, I better start checking the landing area. The lake. There she is. The lake. I'm right over the water. Can't see anything but water. I guess I must be in the middle of the lake. Better get ready. Oh, boy. So lonely out here. Nothing but night, and the black water, and me. I wonder what happened to the fellas. Archie. Sergeant Gaskey. I guess old Archie will miss me anyway. Hey, I forgot. Get the fuses. Even if they land okay, they won't be able to score. And we'll lose. We'll lose. There's the water. There it is. There it is. Oh!
I saw him hit the water here, Major. Hey, look over there to the right, about 20 yards away. The piece of the chute still afloat.
All right, I'll jump in after him, Major.
Wait, Daniels. Put on this life preserver with a line attached. Then we can pull you both into the boat.
Hey, sir.
Cut the motor. He might be under the boat.
I got it.
All right, pull him in. There's Daniels. Hold on to the chute, Daniels. We'll give you a hand.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
All together now. Heave. Yeah, there's the paratrooper now. Get him in fast. That boy swallowed a lot of water. Captain, let's see if you can get some of it out of him. Maybe a little artificial respiration. like those paratroopers are just as tough as they think they are. Captain, have the skipper put her around and make report.
Yes, sir.
What outfit are you with, son?
Jones, private. Serial number 3374915.
Good boy. I'm Major Llewellyn. I'm one of the umpires of this exercise, Operation Baden. I have to judge whether the blue or the red team won this particular phase. As far as you're concerned, Owens, you're out of it. You're a casualty.
Thank you for saving my life, Major.
Glad we saw you. That's what we're out here for.
I'm with Company A of the 77th Battalion. Do you know how the boys made out?
Isn't that the company that attacked the dock installations?
Yes, sir.
Oh, they did fine. We consider the docks about 80% demolished. I'd say their attack was a complete success.
But the fuses, where did they get those,
Beg pardon?
I mean, casualties? Any men hurt on the jump?
Nothing serious.
Oh, great, sir.
Well, here we are at the dock. Think you can make it on your own?
Yes, I'm okay now. Thanks, sir. Hey, that looks like the gang from Makeup. Hey, Archie!
Are you okay?
Good thing. How about you, kid?
Oh, we all landed fine. I sure was worried about you, though. Looked all over for you.
Hey, Sergeant Gaskey. Hi, Sarge.
Well, if it ain't Esther Williams.
Say, Sarge, I heard the Major say our attack was a success. What about the fuses?
The fuses?
Yeah.
Well, when we couldn't find you, we took half a Pops. Sergeant Gaskey always plays it safe, boy. That's why he's a sergeant.
Plan ahead to get ahead. There's sound advice for you young men of America. And here's how you can act on that advice. Your United States Army is offering a bright future in such interesting technical fields as radio, radar, electronics, mechanics, meteorology, photography, and many, many others. Perhaps you're not qualified in any of these urgently needed skills. Well, here's the answer to that. The United States Army, through its many fine technical schools, is prepared to train you in the field for which you show an aptitude. Now, there's a great opportunity. Your opportunity to plan ahead, to get ahead. For full details, visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station now.
Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce in the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invite you to listen to Dr. Watson tell us another exciting adventure he shared with his good friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. And I'd like to tell you about my favorite time of day. It's just before dinner. You know, when the family's all sitting around in the living room and wonderful things are cooking in the kitchen? Ah, that's for me. And boy, that's the time for a glass of sherry. Because Petri California sherry really makes waiting for dinner a pleasure. That Petri sherry is the perfect before-dinner wine. Just look at its beautiful amber color. And then taste that wonderful Petri sherry. What a flavor. Petri sherry has a rich, nutty flavor that's right from the heart of sun-ripened grapes. And if you like your sherry dry, you know, not sweet, you want to get Petri Pale Dry Sherry. Or better yet, taste them both. Don't buy one, buy two. Those letters P-E-T-R-I on the label are the personal assurance of the Petri family that Petri sherry is truly good wine. And now it's time to keep the weekly appointment with our good friend, Dr. Watson. How are you this evening, Doctor?
I never felt better, thank you, Mr. Bartell. Draw up your usual chair and make yourself comfortable.
Thanks.
That's it.
Oh, I see you've had the old tin dispatch box out again.
I suppose you've been going through your notes on tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure?
Yes, Mr. Bartell, and I think you'll find it as pretty a little problem as we ever encountered. The story began in 1887. A very busy year for us, my boy. It was the same year that Holmes solved the case of the Amateur Mendicant Society, who held their meetings in a luxuriously furnished vault below a furniture warehouse.
Oh, I remember that story, Doctor. And wasn't 87 the year you both escaped from death in the Paradol chamber?
It was indeed. You've got a very good memory, Mr. Bartell. The story I'm going to tell you tonight topped off this unusually exciting year. It was late in October, and the equinoctial gales had set in with exceptional violence. All day the wind had howled, and the rain had beaten against the windows of our Baker Street lodgings. Finally, it was nearly midnight, as far as I remember. The storm grew higher and louder, and the wind in the chimney sobbed like a child. Suddenly, much to our surprise, the doorbell jangled, and a few moments later, our midnight visitor stood before us. He was a man of about 45, and as he looked about him anxiously in the glare of the lamp, I could see that his face was pale and that his eyes heavy, like those of a man who was weighed down with some great anxiety. And yet when he spoke, his tone was businesslike and almost aggressive.
I've come to you for advice, Mr. Holmes.
That's easily obtained.
And help.
That is not always so easy. I hope the gentleman off his coat, will you, Watson?
Here you are, sir. Let me hang it up for you.
Thank you, sir. I heard of you, Mr. Holmes, from Major Prendergast.
Oh, yes.
He said that you could solve anything.
Oh, I'm afraid he said too much.
But you've never been beaten.
I've been beaten 4 times, sir. 3 times by men and once by a woman. But supposing you sit down and introduce yourself. My friend's name is Watson, Dr. Watson.
How do you do, sir?
How do you do, Doctor? My name is Lovelace, Edmund Lovelace.
And what brings you to me at this hour of the night, Mr. Lovelace?
I'm in terrible trouble, Mr. Holmes. You don't know anything about me, but if you'll accept my case, you can save 4 lives.
I wouldn't say that I know nothing about you, sir, though it's true that I know little beyond the somewhat obvious fact that, you're single, that you keep a dog, but not a manservant, and that you are much preoccupied with your business, which I take to be some form of insurance.
Oh, come. Oh, steady.
Now, what is this?
Well, I'll wager that my friend's right, though. Isn't he, Mr. Lovelace?
Perfectly. But I'll be hanged if I can see how he knows it.
It's a practical application of logic, sir. The briefcase that you carry might at first indicate a barrister or some other professional man, but your brusque, business-like manner counteracts that suggestion. An insurance broker who must visit clients at odd hours is the likeliest man to combine that manner with a briefcase at midnight.
But the wife and the manservant, and the fact that I'm preoccupied with my business.
Your cufflinks don't match, sir. Each is from a different pair. That would suggest preoccupation, and it's a mistake that neither a wife nor a manservant would have allowed to pass.
Yes, but how about the dog?
Oh, surely that's obvious, Watson.
Well, I can't see it.
I shall let you ponder on that matter while Mr. Lovelace tells us his problem.
Mr. Holmes, are you as interested in preventing a murder as in solving one?
Well, naturally I am, Mr. Lovelace. Even more so. But please tell me your story.
I live with 4 cousins of mine in an old house in Camberwell. My grandfather left the house and a sizable fortune to the 5 of us on condition that we lived together and maintained a family unity. It probably won't surprise you to know that we've grown to get pretty much on each other's nerves.
Well, what happens if one of you dies, Mr. Lovelace?
His share is divided among the others, Doctor.
The wonder to me is, sir, that not that a murder may take place, but that it has not happened long ago. Who's responsible for the administration of the estate?
My cousin Gerald. He's much older than the rest of us, and he's a thoroughly unpleasant, cantankerous man.
Yeah.
He gets an extra share in the estate as administrator, and in consequence he doesn't work. We feel, of course, that he lives off us, and we're continually quarrelling with him about it.
Sounds like a jolly household, I must say.
There's going to be trouble, Mr. Holmes, I know it. Gerald hates us, and he's jealous of our share in the estate.
You spoke of preventing murder just now. Yet I can see that you've selected your cousin Gerald as the potential murderer. Am I right?
Yes, you are. Mm-hmm. But don't think it's personal prejudice that makes me suspect him. I have good reason for doing so.
Oh, what reason?
This evening, just before dinner, I helped Gerald off with his topcoat and went to hang it up for him. As I did so, I heard a strange metallic clink in one of his pockets. I slipped my hand inside it and found a hypodermic syringe and a small phial of liquid. I opened the phial and smelled it. Gentlemen, it reeked of bitter almonds.
Bitter cyanide, eh?
And what did you do?
I thought of destroying it, but I realized that would put him on his guard, so I replaced it in his pocket. Of course, I warned the others, and we decided that I'd come to you. I had to see a most important client tonight, or I'd have been here earlier.
Yes, it seems odd that you didn't come directly to Mr. Holmes as soon as you'd made the discovery, Mr. Lovelace. After all, if a potential murderer is walking about with a pocket full of cyanide, I should have thought that itself was a more important than business.
Well, yes, I suppose it might seem so to you, Doctor.
That's a most interesting stick you carry, sir. May I examine it?
Of course. Here.
Oh, thank you.
Now I see how you deduced that Mr. Lovelace had a dog, Holmes. There are the marks of the dog's teeth on the stick.
Yes, my dear Watson, but these marks under scrutiny give us even more specific information. He's a large dog. You've had him for some years, Mr. Lovelace, and he's now old and feeble.
Well, you're perfectly right, but I'll be hanged if I can see how you can tell that from looking at a walking stick.
This stick is covered with teeth marks, therefore it has been carried many times by the dog. Now, it's a heavy stick, so only a large dog could have carried it. And the teeth marks also indicate a large jaw. The older marks are deep sunk. Look here. The fresh ones, where the wood is not yet darkened, are shallow. Yes, it's obvious that the jaws are losing their strength.
That's very clever of you, Mr. Holmes, but I don't see what it has to do with the case in hand.
Oh, neither do I, Holmes, I must confess.
No, surely it tells us that your story, Mr. Lovelace, may bear a less terrifying implication than you think. On the other hand, its implication may be even more terrifying. Oh, it's late at night. I feel that any further delay in this matter would be extremely dangerous. I suggest that we get a cab and come to your house in Camberwell at once.
Alice, Randolph, I'm glad you're still up. I was able to persuade Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson to come back with me. Gentlemen, this is my cousin, Alice Harley.
How do you do?
How do you do, Miss Harley?
How do you do?
And my cousin, Randolph Lovelace.
How do you do? How do you do, sir?
How do you do, Mr.
I
Lovelace?
told him about the whole business, Randolph, so we can all speak perfectly freely.
Let's begin by sitting down, shall we? Randolph and I had just finished a little cold supper. We've been to the theatre tonight.
Well, Mr. Holmes, I suppose Edmund told you about finding the hypodermic syringe and the cyanide in Gerald's coat pocket.
Yes, indeed. May I ask where your cousin Gerald Lovelace is now?
We left the house at 7, but I imagine Gerald went upstairs at 8, as usual. Didn't he, Edmund?
On the stroke of 8, Alice. He's very fixed in his habits, Mr. Holmes. He goes up to his room every night at 8. There he reads or works on his accounts and eventually goes to bed any time between 10 and 1.
Well, he might still be up.
I should like to speak to him a little later. In the meanwhile, may I ask you two young people, tell me quite honestly your feelings about your cousin Gerald?
And you might as well be frank. I've kept nothing back.
All right. Randolph and I hate him. First of all, we're sure he's jealous of our shares in the estate, and then we...
Alice and I want to get married, Mr. Holmes, and Gerald won't hear of it.
But you're your cousins, aren't you?
Only second cousins, Dr. Watson. Gerald is dreadfully conventional. He's threatened us that if we do get married, he'll go to court and try to have our shares in the estate annulled.
And from the way the will is worded, I wouldn't be surprised if he could do it. So you can see why we have no great love for him, and why we're afraid of him.
Well, he sounds an extremely unpleasant person to me.
You mentioned there were 5 cousins in the house. 3 of you were here. Mr. Gerald Lovelace is upstairs. Who and where is the 5th cousin?
The 5th cousin is my brother, Gilly. He's something of a tragedy, I'm afraid. You see, Gilly's 20, but he never developed mentally beyond the age of 8. He had a bad fall in the hunting field when he was a kid. He's been like this ever since.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, sir.
But he's the dearest, most gentle boy you've ever met.
And, incidentally, the one person in this house who doesn't hate Gerald.
The poor fellow doesn't understand the conditions of the will, I suppose.
No. But if he did, I don't think it'd make any difference. I swear that Gilly loves every living thing, especially Gladstone. Gladstone is the name of his dog.
His dog? Yes. The dog may be the key to this whole matter.
The dog? What makes you say that, Holmes?
When a man brings a quick and painless poison home to a household containing an old and feeble dog, it's more than possible that he has obtained that poison quite legitimately to give the dog a merciful death.
To kill Gladstone? Oh, no.
After all, Alice, dear, he is old and almost blind
But,
now.
Mr. Holmes, if you think Gerald brought home the poison to put Gladstone out of the way, and I admit it sounds perfectly logical, what made you decide to come here tonight?
Because I dare not even guess what you may have done by intruding the thought of murder in this situation. Where is your brother Gilly?
In his room upstairs, asleep.
I wonder if we might go up to him. I should like to talk to him, if you don't mind. And after that, I want a few words with your cousin, Gerald Lovelace.
He's asleep, Mr. Holmes.
Yes, with a dog in his arm.
I'm afraid we'll have to waken him.
Gilly? Gilly? It's all right, Gladstone. We're not going to hurt him. Gilly?
Who is it? Oh, hello, Alice. Who are these men? They've come to take Gladstone away.
No, Gilly, we haven't.
Oh, of course not, Gilly. We've just come to admire him. Your brother's been telling us what a fine dog he is.
Oh, that's different. Isn't he beautiful? I just had such a wonderful dream about him. Such a wonderful dream.
What was it, Gilly?
Well, he was all young again. Just a puppy. He was chasing a rabbit across a cliff top. And I was running with him. Oh, Gladstone looked so beautiful. Didn't you, old boy? Of course you did. And you know, the rabbit went down a hole, and Gladstone went down after him. And I went down after Gladstone. And we all had tea with the rabbits. Oh, it was so funny. They all had little green hats on. Hats with feathers. I wanted Gladstone to try one on, but he wouldn't. So sleepy. Come on, Gladstone. Let's go back to the tea party.
Poor kid.
This world may be a great deal more pleasant than ours, Watson.
That's what I'd like to think, Mr. Holmes.
Now I'd like to have a few words with your cousin Gerald.
His room's at the end of this corridor.
I'm afraid Gilly wasn't much help to you, Mr. Holmes.
On the contrary, young lady, he told me exactly what I wanted to know.
Here we are. This is Gerald's room.
There's no light under the door. He must have gone to sleep.
I'm afraid we must waken him, too.
Must be a heavy sleeper.
But he isn't. He's a remarkably light one.
Come on, let's go in. Strike a match, will you, old fellow?
Sure.
The gas mantel's at the head of his bed, Dr. Watson.
Yeah.
Well, he's lying on the outside of his bed. He must be... There's blood on the pillow.
Great Scott Holmes. The back of his skull smashed in. He's been murdered.
Oh, no. Horrible.
Yes, Watson, but not by the blows on his head. Look here on the table by his bed.
A hypodermic syringe and a broken file.
Yes, a broken file. Reeking of bitter almonds.
Poor devil. Well, I won't pretend I liked him. But what a ghastly way to die.
All they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. So the scriptures say, Mr. Lovelace. The very suspicion of the killing has brought murder to pass. Well, it's too late to prevent it. Our job now is to find the killer and see that he's brought to justice.
Dr. Watson will tell you the rest of his story in just a few seconds. Just time enough for me to tell you that if there's one wine that's perfect for any occasion, it's Petri California Sherry. With a bottle of that rich, amber-colored Petri Sherry on hand, you can make that time before dinner a main event. And Petri Sherry is the perfect answer to the question of what to serve when company comes. Serve Petri Sherry alone and let its full, wonderful flavor speak for itself, or serve Petri Sherry with hors d'oeuvres or party sandwiches. And remember, you can serve Petri Sherry proudly, because Petri is the proudest name in the history of American wine. Well, Dr. Watson, so you found Gerald Lovelace dead in one of the bedrooms of the house in Camberwell. What did you do? Send for the police?
Not at once, Mr. Bartell. Sherlock Holmes persuaded the remainder of the household to give him the opportunity of examining the scene of the crime carefully before the police were sent for. And so, a few minutes before 1 o'clock that October night, Holmes and I stood alone in the room of death.
The gas a little higher, will you, old chap?
Sure. You know, Holmes, I think you should have sent for the police right away.
In a case like this, Watson, I prefer to be my own police. When I have spun the web, they may take the flies, but not before. What are the results of your medical examination, old chap?
Well, it's exactly as you reconstructed it, Holmes. He was first beaten on the head with that poker lying on the floor. Then he had the full phial of cyanide injected into his left wrist.
Can you estimate the time of death at all accurately?
No, this room's confoundedly hot. He might have died any time from 1 to 5 hours ago.
Yes. It's now 1 o'clock, and we know that he was alive at 8. Mr. Edmund Lovelace saw him leave for his room at that hour.
Yes, if he was telling the truth.
One thing we do know for a fact is that this man was murdered at the exact moment he was going to bed. He's wearing his nightgown and nightcap, but his bed has not been slept in.
Well, isn't it possible that the murderer might have killed him shortly after 8 and then dressed him in his night clothes to confuse us?
No, my dear chap. You will notice that the hypodermic needle passed through the sleeve of his nightshirt. Here. Also, the nightcap is crushed and blood-stained from the blows of the poker. No, Gerald Lovelace had prepared for bed.
Yes. Look at the glass of water on the night table and the prayer book and the watch.
Yes. Signs of a prosperous and meticulous man. Mm-hmm. Very fine gold watch and in excellent condition. Aha. There's the answer, Watson.
What do you mean, there's the answer, Watson?
I just wound this watch one turn, and then it was fully wound. That provides us with the time schedule for our murder. Come on. We'll send a servant for the police, and while they're on the way, if you'll call everyone together, I should like to put a few more questions to this family. Before the police arrive, I should like to hear your statements again very carefully, if you don't mind. Mr. Edmund Lovelace, what were your exact movements tonight?
I left here shortly before 10. From 10 o'clock until the time I came to Baker Street, I was with my client.
His name and address, please.
Derek Waterlow, 39 Onslow Square, South Kensington.
Thank you. Make a note of these, will you, Watson?
At your home.
You, Miss Harley, and you, Mr. Randolph Lovelace, went to the theater together. Can any independent witness testify as to your movements?
Well, yes, Mr. Holmes. We went with friends, the Grant Moresbys. They live at the Clarendon Hotel off Charing Cross.
What time did you leave this house?
Well, it was about 7:45, wasn't it, Alice?
Yes. And after the play, we went to the Café Royal for a little refreshment with our friends and then came back here.
I see. And what time did you arrive back at this house?
Just a few minutes before midnight. I remember the grandfather clock in the hall striking just as we went into the drawing room.
And your brother Gilly, sir. I hate to waken him again. Have you any idea of his movements tonight?
Well, he never goes out after dark, Mr. Holmes. But I spoke to the cook as we came in tonight. She says that he played cards with her until just after 10 o'clock.
He was fast asleep when I looked in on him shortly after midnight.
Thank you. You've made a note of all these facts, Watson?
Yes, Holmes, I got them all down.
Good. Then let's be on our way to Baker Street.
But the police, Mr. Holmes, they're on their way.
I know. Please give them my regards, will you? Apologize for my informality and tell them that I shall have the answer to this matter probably in a little over 24 hours.
Holmes, here it is well after midnight. You haven't done a thing on the Camberwell case.
No, but you have, old chap. You've checked on all the time alibis and found them valid. I'm much obliged to you.
Yes, Inspector Lestrade was here tonight, you know, and he made some pretty caustic remarks, I can tell you.
Oh, didn't you inform him that I'll have the answer to the problem before many hours have passed?
Yes, I did, but you know, Lestrade, he wanted action.
He shall have it. Is the watch still running?
Yes, there's another thing. What'll Lestrade say when he finds that you took the dead man's watch?
I've no idea.
Oh, why did you take it anyway?
You sound sleepy, old chap.
Yes, I am confoundedly sleepy.
Well, why don't you go to bed?
Well, what are you going to do?
Continue my vigil with my pipe and the watch of a dead man. Watson, wake up!
What time is it?
5 o'clock in the morning.
Good Lord, will you dig up at this hour?
The watch has just stopped. I'm about to rewind it.
What are you rewinding it for, Holmes? You waited over 24 hours for it to unwind.
When I know how many turns it takes to wind it fully, I shall have the answer to the whole business. 10, 11...
You're being confoundedly mysterious, as usual.
14 turns, and the watch is fully wound. Get your clothes on, old chap.
Well, where are we going on this hour?
To the house in Camberwell. Now I know who murdered Gerald Lovelace. Mr. Edmund Lovelace, I'm glad you let us in. Please take us up to your young cousin's room at once.
Really? What do you want with him?
I'll explain in a moment. Please take us up to him.
Oh, of course, but what brings you here at this hour of the morning?
Mr. Holmes knows who murdered your cousin.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. It's more than the police seem to know. They were here half the night cross-examining us. Here we are. I don't think we'll bother to knock. Billy?
I'm awake. We heard you coming up the stairs, didn't we, Gladstone? It's the same man again. You're not going to take Gladstone away, are you? Please don't take him away.
Don't worry, Gilly. We're not going to touch him.
Oh, that's all right, then.
Oh, Gilly.
Yes?
You really love that dog, don't you?
Of course I do. More than anything or anybody.
I believe you'd even kill a man who tried to hurt Gladstone. Wouldn't you?
Oh, yes, sir. I would.
Gilly!
No. Great Scott.
Gilly, I don't think you'd really kill a man. I don't think you could.
Couldn't I, though?
How would you kill him?
I'd hit him first. I'd take a poker and hit him on the head so he couldn't fight back. And then I'd take the nasty needle he told me he was going to stick in Gladstone, and I'd fill it full of that water he showed me, and I'd stick it in him. That's what I'd do. Then he'd be dead. And he couldn't hurt my Gladstone anymore. Not ever.
Let's leave him, shall we? Goodbye, Gilly. Pleasant dreams.
Goodbye, sir. Good old Gladstone.
You satisfied, sir?
Yes. Poor Gilly. There's no doubt about it, of course.
No, can there be no one who described the murder to him, and yet he's just given an exact description of its method?
What'll happen to him? They won't try him.
No. A little pressure in the right places, and he'll be released to a private nursing home. I'll do everything I can, Mr. Lovelace.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Thank you very much.
Well, Holmes, now that we're back in Baker Street and the whole pressing case is finished with, perhaps you'll tell me how you knew that Gilly had committed the murder.
Well, consider the time schedules, old fellow. You checked the alibis of the other cousins and found them satisfactory. That meant that Alice Harley and Randolph Lovelace could have committed the crime only at midnight. Edmund only before 10. Gilly only around 11. You said that the time of death could have been at any of those hours.
Yes, I did. So how did you pin it down to 11?
The watch gave me the specific answer. When I picked it up, I unthinkingly wound it. Made one turn and was then fully wound. Now, when does a methodical, precise man like Gerald Lovelace wind his watch?
Just as he's going to bed.
Exactly, old fellow. So that it was obvious that he was killed precisely one watch stem turn before I wound his watch.
Now I'm beginning to see daylight, Holmes. So you let the watch run down?
That's what I did. It took 28 hours, from 1 o'clock the night before last until 5 this morning. Now, how many turns did it take to rewind it?
14, wasn't it?
That's right. Therefore, one turn of the watch stem equaled 2 hours, proving that Gerald Lovelace had been murdered 2 hours before 1 o'clock at 11 p.m.
When Gilly was the only one who could have done it. You know, Holmes, I still find it hard to believe that boy was capable of such a ghastly crime. He seemed so gentle.
Oh, he is. Except when his beloved dog's life was at stake, probably out of some mistaken notion of kindness. Gerald Lovelace warned the boy of his intentions regarding the dog. It's a sad business, Watson, a sad business.
I hate to think of that boy spending the rest of his life in a mental home.
I have one prayer for his future.
What's that, Holmes?
The dog Gladstone can't live very long. I pray that Gilly does not long outlive him.
Doctor, that was a remarkable bit of deduction on the part of Mr. Holmes.
Yes, extremely clever, wasn't it? Of course, if I may say so, I was of some small help myself.
Small help? Why, Doctor, you practically solved the case by yourself.
Oh, I wouldn't go as far as saying that.
But, Doctor, you did check all the alibis, didn't you?
Yes, I checked where each suspect was at various times.
Yes, you checked time. And what's more important than time?
Well,
why, Doctor, time is even vitally important when it comes to wine.
I was wondering how you were going to bring that in.
And one thing we do know, Petri took time to bring you good wine. So nobody can miss with Petri wine. It's just got to be good. You know, you can't be in the wine business as long as the Petri family without really learning all about the fine art of making wine. And don't forget, the Petri family has been making fine wine since way back in the 1800s. So, naturally, they've been able to hand on down, from father to son, the result of generations of experience at turning luscious, sun-ripened grapes into fragrant, delicious wine. No matter what type of wine you prefer, you'll like it more if it's a Petri wine, because Petri took time to bring you good wine. Well, Dr. Watson, what new Sherlock Holmes story do you plan to tell us next week?
Well, now, next week, Mr. Bartell, I'm going to tell you a most unusual adventure that Holmes and I had when we were attending a performance at the Opera House in Rome. It concerns a famous singer who lost her voice, an understudy who was nearly lynched, and a murder that baffled the police. I call it The Adventure of the Terrifying Cat.
Well, that's a story we've got to hear.
Thank you, Mr. Bartell. And before you go, I want to talk to our friends about their war bonds. You know, during the war, the best investment we could find was a United States war bond. And for my money, they're still a great investment. They're called United States savings bonds now, and only the name is changed. Savings bonds are sold in the same denominations and give you all the same advantages. And you can buy savings bonds at the same places, at your bank or your post office or through the payroll savings plan. So invest all you can in United States savings bonds, because you cannot find a better or a safer investment.
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story, The 5 Orange Pips. Music is by Dean Fossler. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and Mr. Bruce through the courtesy of Universal Pictures, where they are now starring in the Sherlock Holmes series. The Petri Wine Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studios. This is Harry Bartell saying good night for the Petri family. Listen every Monday on most of these same stations at 8 o'clock to Michael Shayne, followed immediately by Sherlock Holmes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.